never down to my knees, Lord, answer me. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, I keep my dick in. I know them niggas don't want no pipe, I keep my glizzy. Oh, big ass glizzy. My mama tell me all the time, baby, you gonna be a star. But she don't even like right niggas. For real. How that's your dog in the yoke, that nigga won't get your pee. I had to stop fucking with niggas, I knew they weren't fucking with me. And I can't wait to run touch, we gon' run these niggas. Shit, I can't wait to scope touch, we gon' kill the niggas. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, that's why I brought new glitz. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, that's why I put an extension. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, y'all make your mama miss you. I had to move up out my mama's house, I couldn't bring the tension. Cause when I leave up out this bitch, I gotta bring the glitz. Hey, when I leave up out this bitch, I don't know if I'll come back in. And if you really active, nigga, you know what I'm feeling. I told my niggas bull out, cause we on a mission. My girl be telling me chill out, cause she need a nigga. And plus my son, he getting older, that's my little nigga. It ain't shit I wouldn't do for my fucking children. And making it back home to them, you know I ain't playing with you. I hear them niggas talking like I'll keep that playing with you. I heard some niggas wanna ride me down, play with a nigga. They know we keep those splits burning, we love to smoke on niggas. I'm tired of bitch ass niggas act like we don't know a nigga. I'm tired of bitch ass niggas act like we won't get with them. I feel like Scottie Pippen, I swear y'all be ignoring the nigga. I feel like Scottie Pippen, young nigga, I keep a Jordan with me. I feel like Scottie Pippen, these 3 threes, they ain't hit a nigga. Yeah, these 3 threes, they hit a nigga. I feel like Scottie Pippen, young nigga, I keep a Jordan with me. I keep a Jordan with me. I feel like Scottie Pippen, young nigga, I keep a Jordan with me. I go dog in the gut, that nigga won't get your pee. I had to stop fucking with nigga, I know won't fuck with me. And I can't wait to round touch, we gon' run the nigga. Shit, I can't wait to scope touch, we gon' kill the nigga. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, that's why I put the clip. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, that's why I put the clip. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, I make your mama miss you. I had to move about my mama house, I couldn't bring attention. Hey, I couldn't bring the tension. I had to move up out my mama's house, I couldn't bring the tension. Hey, when I leave about this bitch, I gotta bring the clip. Hey, when I leave about this bitch, I don't know I'll come back in. For real. Hey.
See my life has been in motion, I'm a little windy, I'm not giving up yet. If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back, got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jam. Yeah, you know who I am, yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming, I can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. Fake love, snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it.
Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up. On the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled, highway ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hot and black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. And being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the guards of the gate. So when they say they fear God, now you know what they made.
Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. Alleyway.
Coco, this your season right now.
gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They gon' see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They gon' see me, yeah. I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with perky, now that hair by numb is veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They gon' see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They gon' see me, yeah.
Lost, see, I glossed too, we shit ain't been the same.
So dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and John Doe's. Crack open them land patents, let go of them townhomes. What's a native to a native? Eat $5 dough if he not melanated. Pale faces got you waiting on a savior. Sending prayers up, he texting back on vacation. Yeah, God's children. Give all your praise to Jesus, but how God feeling? He say put no one before him in divine image. It's true with God of Christians. I got a vision, but niggas ain't gotta listen, so they don't. We came from the soil, wasn't fucking with no boats. Bible took our spirit, English potted on our homes. Tribal families turned on us, don't act like y'all don't know. But fuck them and they grudges. We was something turned to nothing. And now we nothing's turned to somethings. Reincarnation of ancients, fresh up out the oven. This the message to the black man. 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 Shooters on my roof, lawyers in the coop. We can never die, bitch, we bulletproof. This the message to the black man. This the message to the black man. Say you wasn't slaves, you was prisoners of war. And stop wasting your time, these other bitches ain't important. You ain't meditating, you ain't mating with the sauce. Like what the fuck's a noodle if you ain't painted with the sauce? I find it hard to trust the pastor who rather side with the master, who preaching we should submit while getting murdered and captured. About how we should wait on God is never our vernacular.
Niggas died 1865. Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up.
Blazing on the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled, highway ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hot and black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. If being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to all the American Aborigines / American Indians / FBA brothers and sisters in the chat. If y'all can hear me loud and clear, make sure y'all drop the fire emojis. Make sure y'all drop them fire emojis. I'm going to say peace and blessings. You already know what it is. Your brother Aboriginal Power. You know what it is. So make sure y'all hit the like button, share the video, and hit the subscribe button if you hadn't already subscribed. All right. So what's going on, y'all? I know y'all been seeing the conversation. And I want to really kind of break this conversation down in a few different topics, you know what I'm saying, and what you see. my FBA and my Aboriginal brothers and sisters. I want to have a conversation with the FBA. Where do your lineage tie to? Where do your lineage go? I want to kind of have a conversation with some of my brothers and sisters here in a second. So that's going to be part of the topics at hand. And I see that there's American Indian freedman conflict going on. And I was just listening to this guy channel who's hosting this particular conversation. And I kind of want to get into some of the dialogue that's going on over there before I jump into the conversation with my FBA brothers and sisters and allow them to come on the panel to elaborate on where their lineage tied to and where they're connected to. So let's kind of listen to that dialogue, if you will. Let's listen to that dialogue. Let's get it right here on the screen.
Family, one love. That's what I want to say.
Indeed. Brother Grimm, you had anything you want to say before we bring our guests on? All right. So without further ado, let us bring our guests on. Y'all could show yourselves or not. I'm not sure how y'all want to do it.
This is a bunch of freedmen. You know, this is a bunch of freedmen. And mind you, this is Lord Albert channel. This guy right here, this Lord Albert, this guy was a heavy Moor, right? And they're pushing this freedman thing. And I just want to let y'all know, I smell it. Shout out to my FBA brothers and sisters and my Aboriginal brothers and sisters. Y'all want to talk about a new Pan-African movement. This freedman shit is got Pan-African written all over it. It smells like an African slave ship in this motherfucker. Let's listen to these people.
Be on the camera. I think people need to see, you know, yeah, that's right. Let's show the family, you know, our brother and our beautiful sister. Starting with you, sister, introduce yourself. And then we're gonna go to your fam and we're gonna get this thing moving. And not just introduce yourself, tell them your tribal affiliation and how you got that tribal affiliation.
And mind you, these guys are questioning you guys. These guys claim to be African slaves who was enslaved by Indian people. So you Indians got some shit to talk about. You was enslaving your own people? Or is they talking about different Indians? Who is the Indian? This Indian conversation has become confusing. And you're going to hear it within this dialogue. Let's listen.
Okay, hey everybody. My name is Janai. You guys may know me on Twitter as the Body Butter Plug. I'm connected to the Chickasaw Freedmen. My third great grandfather, Richard Davis, he was enslaved by the Chickasaw Nation. So that is the ties that I have to them. This is my cousin Ian. We're connected through Richard Davis's wife, Ella Franklin. So I did want to bring him on here so he can go ahead and shed light on what's going on.
So you know your history basically, and you're gonna show that tonight.
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, so let me see. I'm trying to. All right, that's a little bit better. If you could adjust your camera a little bit, sis. Just a little. All right, there you go. That's a little bit better. All right, go ahead, brother Ian. Introduce yourself. Let the people know, you know, a little bit about yourself and your familial connections going back.
These are Africans, y'all. Claiming to be Indians. They got enslaved by Indians. This is Pan-African 2.0. This is the Pan. Y'all try to talk shit about the FBA. Shout out to my FBA brothers and sisters. This is not, FBA is not a Pan-African movement. This freedman shit is a Pan-African movement. Pay attention.
You know, to the Chickasaw Freedmen.
Chokma, South Trafalgar, Ian McCants, Oklahoma City, Ako, Amintali.
Chokma.
Hold on, this nigga came on speaking Native American music. Hold on, that was some Native American shit.
You know, to the Chickasaw Freedmen.
Chokma, South Trafalgar, Ian McCants, Oklahoma City, Ako, Amintali, Micha Chata, Micha Chikasha, Ikyoko Saya. Hi, my name is Ian McCants. I'm from Oklahoma City, and I'm a Choctaw and Chickasaw Freedman. I'm related to the Franklin family, the Love family, the Newberry family from the southeastern or the southern part of Oklahoma. My family were co-founders of Tatum's, which is an all-black town and the only all-black town in the Chickasaw Nation in Oklahoma. And it's one of 13 all-black towns in the state of Oklahoma. And my family's been living in Oklahoma since the 1840s with the Trail of Tears, when they went to the bottom of Oklahoma on the Red River, where all of the plantations that Chickasaw slave owners were from Mississippi, where they had been previously living before the Trail of Tears and the Chickasaw Nation.
Oh, perfect. That's beautiful. And I want everybody to notice how the brother came in and he spoke the language, right? And one of the things that we've
fool. This enslaved African came in speaking the Indian language. This nigga's the African speaking the Indian language. That's weird. Don't y'all think?
asked these pretendians, and I'm gonna try to keep it but we just gotta call these people what they are: pretend Indians. We asked them, what language do you? It's this guy named Mel. Like, let's call a couple names, right?
Shout out to my brother Mel, the FBA brother Mel. Shout out to Mel. I fuck with Mel. Mel rides with the Aboriginal information. Shout out to the FBA brothers and sisters. Shout out to Mel. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we got almost 200 in here. Slap that like button. Thumb up the video, y'all.
Secure the tribe. Right? So we first come in contact with this guy because there's a space called Natives versus Freedmen. And, you know, this was sent to us, and we're looking like, what is this? Natives versus Freedmen. So we jump into space, try to get a gauge of what's going on. I request to go up to speak because I want to see what these people are talking about. So I engage them in the conversation, Mel, and the rest of them guys that's on that panel. And let me see. What is, I'm trying to look at the chat. Okay, I'll get to the chat in a minute. So yeah, you were saying something, Ali?
No. Go ahead.
All right, so I start asking questions that these brothers couldn't answer. Brothers and sisters, like KD and the rest of these people. Their answers, their responses is to curse you out, mute you, and kick you off their Twitter space stage, because they have no answers. They won't come up here and give an account, just like legendary Chief Top Cats. Although he did come on here, we proved him to be a habitual liar.
I got to agree that nigga is a habitual liar.
Showed and proved that legendary Chief Top Cap, not Cap, because he be capping, he's a liar. Ishmael Bey, we've invited all of these people to come on this platform and have the discussion, or a neutral platform like Sinetta. So anyway, let's get back to the space, and we're going to get to the guests. I just want to tell people kind of how we got here. And so I asked the brother Mel a series of questions. When did if you're saying that you have no slave ancestors on either side, your mother's side or your father's side, going up your family tree, which comes out as, you know, you got two parents on one side, two parents on the other side.
You mean grandparents?
Grandparents.
That's right.
Okay.
Which get right, the four grandparents. Like, it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, right? So I asked, can you tell me when your family intersects with the European prior to them bringing slaves to the United States of America? Asked a series of questions. Can't answer the question. Can you prove that you are an Indian, a native? I don't have to prove nothing to you. I feel it in my DNA. This is what he told me. I feel it in my DNA that I am Indian, a black Indian. And there's been a series of discussions that we've had, debates. They don't want to debate. They just want you to come into their rooms where they could control the mic, curse you out, kick you off the stage, you know, cornball stuff. Like, real cat. I don't like now I said I never brag how real I keep it because it's the best secret. But you know, we don't like to brag about how real we are. We don't got to do that. But when you see fake stuff, you gotta speak to it. Sorry, man. Stuff is a distraction. All of this stuff is a distraction. So we're gonna go. Let's start with our sister. And say your name again, sis, because I'm gonna keep messing it up till I get it.
So listen, man. So he already got a disdain towards brothers that's of the Negro complexion, claiming they Aboriginal heritage. See, and that's what get confusion with the Indian topic, because anybody could be an Indian. It's a lot of Indians that's different ethnicities in America, and a lot of the other ethnicities, like the Negro ethnicities, don't really have a lot of records, and when you do, it's some type of slave record, which I haven't seen any slave records from these guys. These guys claim that they from Africa. I haven't seen them provide any proof that they was from Africa, but that's just what they go with. This is the out of Africa theory 2.0, and they're trying to hijack it by attaching on to the Freedmans, and the Freedmans are attached to the Indian, and the Indians are somehow attached to the Aborigine. That's why I'm trying to have a clear understanding. The nigga is the Indian, the Indian is the Aboriginal. Don't let these Freedman conversation confuse you. This is really the Pan-African movement upgraded again. And I'll listen to this conversation from her.
It's okay. It's Janai.
Janai. Sister, we want to start with Sister Janai. And brothers, if y'all have any questions y'all want to ask before,
hey, and none of the FBA brothers come in here like that for what I know. So please don't do them like that. These niggas are right here. The Freedman Pan-Africans treat our FBA brothers with respect. They already attaching and tying into their lineage, disconnecting themselves from Africa. Don't let these niggas usher
to the
their
sister
African shit
and
in.
to the brother, you know, before she leans into her presentation, please do so.
Well, the only thing I would ask is, well, I don't really have a question. The only thing I would say is that, and I'm sure the sister's well aware, you know, what you're talking about in terms of how things have been transpiring on social media. It's just a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos. And what's very, very interesting.
I know Aboriginal Indian is the same category for the legally, but they don't know that, though, brother. You see what I'm saying? Because when they think of an Indian, they're not thinking of an Aboriginal, which is a Negro. When they think of an Indian, they think of an Asian phenotypical person that mixed in with these so-called quote unquote Africans that made you look the way you look now, different than the continental African, because you mix with European and some Native American. That's a false narrative. I thought we've been put that to rest. Lord Apple might have to come talk to me
about the whole thing. Is that for you know, I was just looking at somebody's comment in the chat where he was saying, you know, you all can't be that dumb. Black people are Aboriginal everywhere. But what the reason that this even happened, and they think that this is,
how you gonna say that black people are Aboriginal everywhere, but then to go to say that these Asian Indians, which are supposedly quote unquote Aboriginals, enslaved your black ass? That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. Look, that's why he holding this motherfucking head right here.
Some new stuff. I'm just gonna tell y'all, this kind of debate for me personally, I've found stuff going back 2017, I believe, questioning Dane Calloway all the way back to 2017 when I think he was the one that was making the comments that African Americans aren't African, etc. Right? And so, you know, for me, it's not a new conversation. For a lot of these people, this is something that just came up for them like yesterday. They're just kind of discovering this stuff, but
they don't know we've been debunking this stuff for years, Ali.
Been dealing with it for a long time. And let me just say this, right? One of the things that I said even when Top Cat was here, and I'm going to reiterate it because I think it's important that people understand this. No one's saying, well, I'm not saying that Black Americans don't have any Native American ancestry, because I can't make that kind of statement.
There you go, Native Americans. See, we gotta watch the wordage. We gotta really watch the wordage. These guys really don't understand what they're talking about. they really don't understand what they're talking about. Lord Alba is just adding, and these freedmen are just lost. They talking about they people was enslaved by Native Americans and Choctaw. Sir, did you know that white people by that time had became Indian? They paid $5, actually $4.99 to become an Indian. Are you sure that these weren't white people acting like Indian that was enslaving you so they can get Indian benefits? Oh my God, do y'all not see the bigger picture?
I'm not qualified to make that statement. I've not done the genealogy of every individual to affirmatively say we don't have any of that in our ancestry. So I'm not denying that, but what I'm saying is what they're doing is they've come into the reparations conversation. Mind you, we're having a conversation about reparations for black.
Oh, here they go. That's what they mad about. Pocket watching ass niggas, man. Pocket watching ass niggas. They go for you with pretending niggas too, man. This thing is about pretendians. This what's going on with these pretendians. Which one is it? Did the Indians enslave niggas? Or is the niggas Indians or the enslaved niggas? Battle Axe, boy, you need to go sit down somewhere, Battle Axe. The 5 civilized tribes did enslave Africans during the chattel slavery period. See, there you go with your Levi, Jacob, Gad story. You need to sit down somewhere, man.
Black Americans. What they did was they came into the conversation and started telling everybody, you're not really Black Americans, you're really American Indians. And so this is kind of where this thing spirals from. It comes from this whole thing of them imposing themselves into certain spaces and then trying to make these false generalizations about 40 million people and telling them that you're really American Indians and you don't have any African ancestry, because guess what? You can't find any slave ships. So I just wanted to say that, you know, and I'm sure you're well aware of these kind.
Yeah, these people are confused, and then what it is it's a lot of the Indian brothers and sisters that's just now coming out of the Black, Negro, and color stage that's coming into them understanding that they Indians are looking at Native American culture, and what it is a lot of the Black Indians are adapting and doing shit that the Native Americans do, and a lot of people looking at them saying y'all still in their culture. You see what I'm saying? It's because y'all really is. Native Americans don't practice nothing that you do. That's not Negro culture. That's not Aboriginal culture. You see what I'm saying? That's not American Indian culture.
Kinds of comments and stuff like that. And I'm sure you're going to address a lot of that stuff as you go through your presentation as well, sis. Peace.
Indeed. I wanted, but go ahead, Grim.
Yeah, sorry, I was having some technical difficulties, but I would like to thank the guests for coming on. I appreciate our Indian freedmen brothers and sisters joining the American freedmen, brothers and sisters, because basically when we started talking about the United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen, a lot of people, a lot of our detractors or whatnot try to cause a lot of confusion. And I have to talk about this real quick. So basically, they tried to start a lot of confusion because we were calling ourselves freedmen, and they were basically saying, no, y'all not the freedmen. The Choctaw and the Chickasaw people are the real freedmen, knowing that we weren't calling ourselves freedmen because we were claiming to be Indian freedmen. We were calling ourselves freedmen because we come from the other side of the coin. And I don't want to jump the gun here, but basically the sister and the brother that's on, they're basically our cousins, brothers and sisters, but they will only be beholden to the quote unquote semi-sovereign or sovereign nations of the Native Americans, the people who possibly own their ancestors. And us as American freedmen, we're the people that's the descendants of the actual people who were beholden to the United States of America. For example, the rich politicians and the plantation owners. So we all freedmen, but
he just said that they are the freedmen because in a very sophisticated way by saying that they came from slavery off a boat.
They are Chickasaw, Choctaw, Cherokee freedmen, and they are American freedmen. So, I just wanted to say that before the sister come in. I appreciate y'all. This was long overdue.
All right.
This was long overdue.
I'm gonna turn it over to them, but I want to do one thing. I want to do one thing before we turn it over to our freedmen cousins. Where's that? Okay, still copper tone. Let's pull this up. We're going to address this right now. Okay, so this is an image. Let's pull this up. And then we're going to, because there's a reason why we get to this thing, right? So you have people
look
like
at this clown ass
Dane Calloway.
You have to listen to a whole African narrative, G. And that's what I'll be trying to tell y'all in the chat. A lot of this shit is bogus, y'all. These people don't even know what the hell they talking about. They don't know what the hell they talking about at all. You understand me? These people still thinking that they came from Africa and that they mixed in with Native Americans. And this nigga showing you an African next to a Mexican. Won't you show the African next to the original people of this land instead of some enslaved Asian that was in colonial Mexico? Or some Asian Aztec invader that came over at 1300 AD. This shit is cringy, man. This is like listening to fucking Roy Bay on Silent
because of his skin complexion. Even the skin complexion of the guy in the picture that believes that this is what they meant by copper tone, and that our skin is not dark skin as an original people. So how do we become lighter, especially here in the United States of America? It's usually due to mixing in with white folks who were raping us, and in the case of our freedmen cousins, mixing in with the Native Americans here, right? But when they're saying copper tone, you can see what they mean, right? And we can look at what natives from the Americas look like in conjunction with the actual copper coin. Because one of the things that they do, fam, this is one of the tricks. They take a dirty penny and put it on their hand and say pennies are copper. See, look at this brown penny. And I want you all to just think about it the next time you see a penny. If you put that sucker in some turpentine and you clean it off, it's going to look just like this copper coin that's on the screen. Let me show one more thing. Okay, the reason why they use that is this 1828 Webster's Dictionary, right? So it says American. Now, a native of America originally applied to the Aboriginals. Aboriginals are copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. The name American must always exalt. That's nothing. The thing that they don't tell you is that in this same book, the same dictionary, there's a definition for Negro. Negro. It is remarkable that our common people retain the exact Latin pronunciation as is the word, negger, a native or descendant of the black race of men in Africa. The word is never applied to the tawny or olive-colored inhabitants of the northern coast of Africa, but to the more southern race of men who are quite black. That goes back to the copper color thing. They would have never called the people copper color had they been dark skinned. They would have simply called them Negroes based on the fact that they viewed dark brown skin as black. There's another entry in this 1828 Webster's Dictionary, more, meaning dark and obscure, a native of the northeast coast of Africa called by the Romans from the color of the people, Mauritania, the country of dark complexioned people. The same country is now called Morocco, Tunis, Algiers, etc. So this idea that we get copper colored from this 1828 Webster's Dictionary to apply to those of us here who are the freedmen, black folk, Negroes, colored folk, African Americans, whatever names we have been given in this country is completely absurd and preposterous. So now, sister,
I gotta add.
Janae. Okay, go ahead, brother.
I had a definition from that same dictionary, same year, 1828, that I wanted to share when it came to that.
Okay, definitely.
It's the definition in that 1828 dictionary for copper. A metal of pale red color tinged with yellow. They were not describing black folks. They were not describing.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't even think to look at that one. Excellent.
So when we talk about the color copper, that's not.
These niggas sound lost as hell. That nigga sound lost as hell. That's only a few definitions that's given in there. That's also give you rustic. It also give you tawny. It also give you maroon. It also goes through brown. Why ain't they highlighting that? I'm about to pull it up.
The skin tones that people are trying to make copper represent aren't the skin tones of the definition in the 1828 census. So y'all can throw that point right out the window.
Thank you, brother. Powerful. Powerful. All right, sister Janae. I got it now. I ain't going to. Huh? Janae.
See, he's still messing up.
All right, sister Janae. Sister Janae. All right, let's go, sis. If you want to lead into anything before you do your PowerPoint, you're welcome to the floor is yours.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead and go into the PowerPoint. Give me 1 second, y'all.
All right, while she's doing
the screen.
All right, yeah, just hit that share button, and then I'll pull it up on my end. I'm gonna pull up Mark Daniels' comment while you're doing that. It says, if Be the Power starts joining with the real black native / tribal affiliated freedmen, the abos, meaning the aboriginals, are in trouble. Only but so long that fake-ish they've been pushing online can last. Exactly. This is a call that we've been put out to build with our freedmen cousins of the various tribes. So I just wanted to read that. Sis, when you hit the share button, I'll see it on my end, and then I'll.
Yeah, that was some dick eating ass nigga in the chat who he was responding to named Mark Daniels or Mark D. He sucks. His information sucks. He be in our chat talking about, I'm an Indian. He in there talking about, I'm black, African, Indian, and European. These niggas are weird. You gotta watch these guys.
I'll be able to pull it up.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, go ahead, Ali, real quick.
No, let her go in. I don't want to delay it.
Okay. All right, so we have your PowerPoint up. So I don't know if you can make that a little bit bigger. I'm not sure. Also, that bar at the bottom. Okay, no, you can't make it big. All right, that's cool. That bar at the bottom. Oh, you can make it bigger.
Do you want me? I can see if I can make it. I don't know.
I mean, well, if it's an inconvenience, I mean, we'll get through it. If it's too blurry, then you could go back to the original.
That's it right there. That's good. What you just had, it was good.
And that bar at the bottom that says stop sharing, you could click and drag that and move it out the way if it's in the way of any text that you're trying to share as well.
Okay, I don't know how it's gonna look on here. I tried to make it bigger. Can you guys see it, or it's still small?
It's cool. It's cool. We're good. We can see it.
Okay.
We can see it.
So I just wanted to talk about the Chickasaw freedmen. These are my ancestors right here. On the first column, Richard Davis and Ella Davis. I'm here on the freedmen roll with their children. And it says right here, from the late 18th century through the end of the Civil War, Choctaw and Chickasaw Indians bought and sold enslaved Africans. So this is an ad right here from 1859 in the Chickasaw Nation, showing that they were looking for Negro boys and girls to buy. Here is the dolls rolls. I do hear a lot of people talk about the dolls rolls like it's a bad thing, calling people $5 Indians, saying that people pay $5 to be on the roll. I'm not sure if people know, but it was an ad that went out worldwide, and people were trying to get land, even if they didn't.
Is that not true though, lady? Did white people saw the pay to get on the Dawes rolls and amongst the list of other rolls? Yes or no?
Didn't have ties to Native Americans. I did see on my paternal grandmother's side, on her father's folks, they were even trying to enroll to get land, knowing that they had no ties to the Chickasaw Nation, and their application was denied. So doing my research, here's my third great grandfather, Richard Davis, in Oklahoma in Indian Territory. You see him with his spouse and his children, also the name of his mother and father. So when I click on the actual picture, it pops up of the actual freedman roll. You see Richard, Ella, and their children. You can also see who their slave owner is, Agnes Love and Nancy Smith, and the day that they were enrolled. I also tell people that are doing their research, if you do have ancestors that were enslaved, to make sure that you look at the back of the card, because on the back of the card, it tells who their mother and father were and who their enslavers were as well. And here is a short little interview from Richard, stating how old he was, who he belonged to, his wife's name, and who she belonged to. And as you can see, it shows that, it shows that they were enrolled.
Yeah, we waiting for those right there.
So I just wanted to make it known that I didn't make this photo because I had just posted it on Twitter, and it went viral and people were very upset. I do want people to know that I didn't make the photo. This photo has been circling around to the left for many years before I even started doing my own genealogy. So this is where I got the photo from. There's a group of Native Americans that are pretty upset about the things that African Americans have been doing, trying to claim that they are the real natives or aboriginals. So this is where I actually got the photo from. And as you can see,
no, don't confuse the two. Don't say acting like the real natives and acting like, no, we are the real aboriginals. That's a fact. We can prove it. We done had the debates with these same Native Americans who's putting this information out. Go look it up. Go type in Native American versus Aboriginal debate. It's on my brother and Thompson's one channel. They're about 50K on that motherfucker. And we beat the shit out of them using science, anthropology, archaeology, and just sheer oral genealogy. They couldn't stop it. And then we had another debate with them again. They brought a doctor, a Native American doctor on and that particular debate is on Ab TV channel. Shout out to Aboriginal TV in the chat. Y'all go subscribe. Go check out that debate. Been smoking these guys, so that's a false claim.
To the right is the woman Pretty Nose.
There is some people running around acting like Native Americans though. That's black aboriginals. So I can't lie to it and say that it ain't no aboriginals who claim to be Indians who's running around practicing doing Native American shit. So that's what they're speaking about.
Who participated in the Battle of the Little Bighorn. So that's who that woman is. The next thing I wanted to show, I was scrolling on Pinterest and I seen this photo saying that African Americans are indigenous to America and not Africa. And I just want to know, if that's the case, why are you guys using photos of Africans to prove your case? It's kind of disingenuous and dangerous. And again, it's dangerous to use photos of people that you don't know. This is a thread of me and my cousin Ian. Well, not the thread, but this is the guy, Michael Hampton. He had to use this photo. I'm not sure what his point was, but the information that he was given was incorrect because these are me and Ian's ancestors. If you know anything about John Hope Franklin, this is his son, Buck Franklin. This is his father, Buck Franklin.
Yeah, let me say real quick, Sister Janai, we actually spoke about them But we were going at the pretenders. My brother Logic gave me an excellent.
Nigga, you ain't never went in nothing, Lord Albert. You ain't never asked for no smoke. Somebody go tell Lord Albert come talk to Big Al. I'm ready. This nigga got to come talk to me. Because I don't know how he went from Mr. Moore to pushing this black freedman enslaved African by Native American shit. And Lovely in the chat. Get your ass out of here. I've been smoked your wetback ass peoples. Your Native American ass peoples been got smoked. Go get your ass out of here. Your ass is a motherfucking enslaved Asian.
Breakdown on he was like Indians name, but go ahead. You know, we you know what I'm saying, because the way they tried to maneuver it in a certain type of way to make it seem like these are just some Aboriginal people who have been on this land for thousands and thousands of years. Go ahead. Sam.
Yeah, it's dangerous to use photos of people that you don't know, because these people, their ancestors are still alive today. I mean, their descendants, are still alive today, like me and Ian.
Okay, wait.
Bitch, you talking about some random people who was in a newspaper descendant. Nigga, what about the 99 other motherfucking million Aborigines that was enslaved here? Come on, man. Stop playing these games. We ain't got to act like Aborigines, man. Our genealogy said it. We ain't from Africa, so where the fuck are we from then? And we know that these same motherfucker you got on the picture on the left that you had on the right is a goddamn Asian. That motherfucker look like Gentile. Look like somebody from China, Tokyo, or Cambodia, or somewhere. Filipino, or goddamn Bangkok, Thailand. Yeah, no, them ain't no motherfucking niggas. No. Hell no. Them ain't no motherfucking Aborigines. Them ain't no FBAs. When have you ever seen a Native American do anything that a nigga could do? They don't do shit. Get them raggedy motherfuckers out there. They ain't never played basketball. They don't play no football. They ain't good at talking. These motherfuckers can't even build shit. You ever seen a Native American reservation and them houses that's on there? Them shits be ran down shanty shacks. Them like a goddamn trailer park. Come on now, Juntao. Press the goddamn button on her showing all these goddamn Chinese people. Stop playing with me, Lord Albert. The nigga on her said, we know that all the Aboriginal people are black. And now this nigga said that the black people are acting like Aboriginals? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Stand up, man. Shout out to the FBA and the American Aborigine brothers and sisters. A lot of our FBA brothers and sisters are cutting that bullshit off. I'm glad y'all not attached with that Freeman shit. And I'm glad that my American Indian brothers are waking up too. You're not no Native American, man. Let's get back to the goddamn live stream, y'all. Shit.
One more interruption, sis. One more. Did you see the one thread where the sister had she said it was a Cherokee woman, that she was older, and it come to find out that this was the image of someone's great grandmother.
Yes.
And they owned a pie company. You seen that one?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that in your slides?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I just did a couple. I was
all right, go ahead. All right, my bad. Go ahead, sis.
I apologize. I just wanted to, show us just a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of dangerous to use photos of people that you don't know, because their descendants are still alive today. So
Battle ass, your ass is an Israelite. You need to be trying to take your ass back to Israel. Your stupid ass. You over here in America trying to teach us, bitch. We don't need your teaching. Go teach your Israelis, nigga.
And we had to check this dude real quick. This is another false claim that I see people say, that Black people founded the city of Los Angeles, and that is incorrect. As you can see, this is a portrait of the Bahamian migrants standing in front of their house. So I don't know what was their intent on trying to take this photo to make it seem like, Black people founded the city of Los Angeles, because that's incorrect. And that is
listen. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. And I've been battling Native Americans and Pan-Africans since I came into the community. And this is one thing for sure and two things for goddamn certain. Pan-Africanism And Pan-African niggas is working side by side with the Native Americans, with these Asians. I don't know what it is. And they working together, man. They hate our information, but can't do nothing with it. Can't debunk it. Ain't want to debate. Ain't came out of debacle. Nothing. All aboriginals around the planet is what you would call a black man. I'm not black. My skin is brown. I haven't seen a black motherfucker in my life. But I know what my brother's saying. People mad at Big Al Power, and that's me, y'all. I'm Aboriginal Power. Shout out to y'all in the chat. Hey, a lot of people mad at Al Power because I'm teaching and I'm elevating my brothers and sisters that's claiming black, that call themselves FBA, and they coming into this information. What's wrong with that? Like my brother Trey Ali said, I came back for the blacks and John Does. Crack open them land patents, let go of them townhomes. Shout out to my nigga Trey Ali, man. Shout out to Trey Ali. I came back for the blacks and John Does, man.
All right.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions for the sister, if you don't mind, Naheem. I would like you to basically kind of like elaborate on one of the pictures just for the clarity of the people watching, because here at BTP, we tie these people up and we don't give them any outs. Could you go into just a little bit more detail about how they used those pictures of Africans and told people they were like Native Americans?
Yeah, I really don't know what's the intent by it. But I've seen it, go on for a couple of years where, people take pictures and
think about it. Like Brandon Rogers said, let me highlight what my brother Brandon motherfucking Rogers just said in the chat. Let me highlight that. Okay. Let me highlight. They say if Native Americans were the real Aboriginal people of Americas, they reservations would be adjacent to the mounds. They not. They fucking reservations ain't nowhere near no mounds. They in the rockiest, most rugged, fucked up terrain you can pass. All the nigga neighborhoods is next to mounds. Niggas used to go play on the mounds, play football, hide and seek, Jack and Jill, whatever the fuck going on. Man, these Native Americans, man, these niggas ain't got shit to do. You know who the fuck the mound builders are? That was in Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Ohio. Dominant places where you see niggas still at right now. And them niggas that been there said they people been there. Ain't left. Been there since forever. Ain't came from nowhere, just been there. Just black people who been there. Some people say they Indians. Some people say they just black people, or we just been here. Nigga, leave me where I'm at. Don't get to talking no Africa shit. That out of Africa shit was put on y'all by Alex Haley, man. Alex Haley is a liar. Alex Haley wrote that movie Roots, and it done destroyed y'all. Y'all done left Pan-Africanism. I told y'all Pan-Africans done got beat down so bad that they done came over here as freedmen. God damn.
Lie about the information, and they kind of don't even do the research on what's going on. So it's pretty dangerous out here, especially to those that are actually studying and can identify who these people are today.
Right. So, and I want to ask the brother too, as well. A question for you, brother, man. Well, I'll ask this question first because we know this is probably gonna come. Are you all ashamed of your black heritage or the black heritage that you have coming from Africa as well?
Not at all. I'm very proud of it, and I think that's where a lot of my anger and my wanting to correct a lot of the misinformation out there comes from, is because.
And like I said, man, you hear how these niggas said they talking about they African that was enslaved by motherfucking Indians. So Indians, American Indians, how do y'all feel about this? Aborigines, how y'all feel about this? So-called black people, so-called FBA, you know what I'm saying? So-called black. How do y'all think? How do y'all think, man? This shit is getting absurd. Told you, out of Africa 2.0.
Our ancestors.
Or the black heritage that you have coming from Africa as
Nope.
well?
Not at all. I'm
Not at
very
all.
proud of it, and I think that's where a lot of my anger and my wanting to correct a lot of the misinformation out there comes from, is because our ancestors struggled and dealt with hardships in their life because of the fact they were of African descent, and we're very proud of that fact. And we're also Native, and it never had to be something that couldn't exist without the other. For them, that was not their reality. Like, they knew who they were, and I think it's very disrespectful because people like Buck Colbert Franklin, who was in that photo, his father fought in the Indian Home Guard in the Indian Territory during the Civil War to end slavery.
And listen, these niggas just look like regular black people. And let's be clear, that slave document that you find ain't what you think it is, like you read in Roots or like you see in Django or what you see in Free State of Jones. No, that slavery shit meant employment. I wish I had some motherfuckers in here that did some research. That slave shit mean employment. That means they hired you. And a lot of our people hired our own family members and documented them as slaves on your own record. So you might have had 15, 20 slaves, but them your uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, and kids, wife and shit. See, y'all ain't listening. That's how it really was. Document. I done seen several genealogy records and shit like that where motherfuckers say, look, they got a slaves of my family, but these slaves are my granddaddy, and man, that's his wife, and these are his kids, and these are the grandkids. And you see what I'm saying? These people are lying to y'all. They confusing and muddying up the water. Long as you know that you are a foundational Aboriginal American, don't let the other confusion go. Okay? That slave document, employee document, nigga. That's like going through a temp service.
In Indian Territory. And as you said, we are cousins. Indian freedmen from Indian Territory are our own ethnic group. We weren't freed by the Emancipation Proclamation or the 14th Amendment because Indian Territory was not a part of the United States of America. And so a full year after slavery had ended in the United States, me and Janai's ancestors were still enslaved in the Chickasaw Nation. Slavery in the Chickasaw Nation and Indian Territory didn't end until 1866 because that's when the United States government and the tribes signed treaties to end slavery in the territory because it was not part of the U.S. So we literally are from two different nations and very related. For generations, freedmen have been marrying Black folks from the United States when Oklahoma became a state and we became citizens of this country. But from 1866 until Oklahoma became a state in 1907, our ancestors weren't citizens of the United States of America. And for Chickasaw freedmen, we were the only freedmen who were not adopted by the nation that we had lived in. And so from 1866 until Oklahoma became a state in 1907, we were stateless. We weren't citizens of anywhere in the world. And that's a history that only we as a people have. And there's been so much misinformation and so much erasure of Native history and of Black history to the point where they're trying to even stop it from being taught in schools, that there are so many Chickasaw freedmen people from Oklahoma who don't even know their family's history like that, who don't even know that for 40 years their ancestors only had themselves, only had their relatives at their back because they weren't citizens of anywhere in this country, and they knew that they only could depend on their communities. And that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. It's not about the percentage of Indian DNA you have. It doesn't matter if that test says you're 50% Native or if you're 5% Native, because Native American is a generic term, just like the term Indian is a generic term. They don't mean anything unless you have a community and a tribe you belong to. So if a test says you're 20% Native, great. There are 495 recognized tribes in the United States.
Notice that he didn't say Aboriginal was an incorrect term, because you can't get around that. Aboriginal is describing the original people of this land. So where is the original people if you got enslaved by the motherfucking Asians?
And that DNA could be from any one of them. So that is not a culture. That's not a language. That's not an identity. So you can't just claim to be Indian because this DNA test says this or that. It's about a community you come from. And all freedmen in Indian Territory have communities that we came from and that still exist because there are 13 all Black towns in Oklahoma.
I ain't gonna lie though. These little niggas up here, little Butterbag and Grim and N, guess what it sound like? These Indians sound like they done got a check and they leaving some of you Indian niggas out of it. the ones that's claiming Indian and hooked up to these tribes, these niggas getting a check, it seems like.
They came from us being segregated when Oklahoma became a state, and that was the first law that passed when Oklahoma became a state. So it didn't matter if your family had been citizens of the Creek Nation and you've been a citizen of the Creek Nation before Oklahoma statehood, because to destroy the tribes, they purposely made all non-Black Native people, according to the racial laws of Oklahoma, white, and all Black Native people, whether your ancestors were on the by blood roll, which did happen, or if your ancestors were on the freedman.
Let me highlight what this brother Wolfhawk just said, because this is the absolute truth. He said freemen are the real American Indians of the 5 civilized tribes, but they got their land taken and heritage taken away, and they think that they are a mixture, while the $5 Indian is taking their benefits. Absolutely. This is what we've been saying the whole time. But yet these people even said, I don't know about the $5 Indian thing. They don't even believe it. They didn't been beaten to submissiveness. This is that out of Africa theory. This is that some slave mind mentality. This is still Kunta Kinte. This Kunta Kinte with feathers on. You understand me? This Kunta Kinte with feathers, nigga. This still slave talk.
You became Black, no different from Black folks from the United States. And that's why our communities came together and built Oklahoma's all-Black towns and were able to build Greenwood. And Buck Colbert Franklin, who people who are spreading misinformation always use, he was a lawyer who survived the massacre in Greenwood and sued the city of Tulsa afterwards so that the residents could rebuild their homes, and there's a park named after him. And so for people to be using our history to make these false claims is really dangerous. And it doesn't have anything to do with African history. It has nothing to do with Native history. It's not history, period.
So basically, let me get this. So you all are saying that you were actually stateless for a particular period of time?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
The Chickasaw Freedmen have been called like a people without a country because we were citizenshipless for 40 years. From the signing of the treaty in 1866 until Oklahoma became a state in 1907, we didn't have citizenship in the United States or in the Chickasaw Nation. Because the Chickasaw Nation, unlike a lot of the other tribes, was a lot smaller and owned a much larger percentage of people of African descent. And by the time the Oklahoma became a state, 49%.
I bet you they ain't got no proof of no African. You see how he got all this proof that he got Indian records and come on speaking the Indian language? I bet this lying motherfucker don't got no proof of African in his lineage. I bet you $1,000 he ain't got an African in his family lineage.
It was 46% of the Chickasaw Nation was made up of.
I bet he ain't even got a damn slave document. This nigga just making up shit. I bet you if I say, nigga, where that slave document at?
Of people of African descent. And so if they enfranchised the freedmen as tribal citizens, we would have had equal voting power. And that's why the Chickasaw freedmen were never adopted by the other freedmen were. But the other freedmen were adopted by their tribes and did become citizens of those tribes. The first Black person to serve in a Supreme Court on this land was not in the United States. It was in the Creek Nation. Jesse Franklin was a Creek freedman who served on the Supreme Court of the Creek Nation. And so before Oklahoma became a state, there were Creek freedmen who were going to Congress protesting statehood and protesting the division of land into allotments, because that was something a lot of freedmen were against, because we understood that would pave the way for Indian territory.
This is why we gotta kill that freedman conversation. This is ushering in Africa. I know a lot of dick eaters and cherry pickers and clout chasers is gonna take what I'm talking about on my video. They're gonna take all this talking points I'm talking about. It's gonna go through the whole Aboriginal community tomorrow. But a lot of them is gonna try to compare the FBA brothers and sisters to the freedmen, and that's not gonna be the case, because the FBA brothers and sisters said they not African. They said they lineage tied to America. You see what I'm saying? They got misclassified and went through the atrocities that the same Negro Aboriginal people went through. So they're the same people using different terminologies. They're not like these freemen ushering in this African, we enslaved, beat the fuck up mentality. You understand me? So I want y'all to understand that. Y'all got to get on code and recognize who the enemy is. And it seems like these people are getting paid by the same people who's trying to destroy your information. These same people working with the Native Americans. The Native Americans been trying to steal some of our culture, but they can't get the swag right. Listen, these Native Americans been trying to steal Aboriginal Negro culture, but they can't get the swag right. Okay, so we got to start standing on what all of ours, no matter what the classification is. Let's start stamping this shit and making it ours. Now, don't use certain terms. Now, I tell y'all that black shit don't work, but I understand where y'all coming from. I'm Aboriginal, man. And all Aboriginal people will be described as Negro, Black, or color, or African American today. And that's what they was classified as throughout the time. You see what I'm saying? So I know who I am. I know who the American Indian is. I know who the Negro is. These people are trying to usher in this African shit. So listen, I'm telling you now, if you hear it, you're going to hear it all from everybody else in the little community. Make sure y'all get it right when y'all talking on this topic, man. Make sure y'all give y'all credit to the dog.
Territory becoming a part of the United States, and many of our people were opposed to that.
I have something I want to add real quick about the statelessness of the Chickasaw people between the point of emancipation and, I'm assuming, the 1924 Indian Citizenship Act. Is that when the Chickasaw became American citizens?
No. So the 1924 Indian Citizenship Act was more for Native people who weren't in the Indian Territory, because when Oklahoma became a state, the Native people living in Oklahoma, for the most part, unless they were full-bloods and a small minority, became citizens of the United States. So okay, whether you were enrolled as a citizen of that nation as a freedman or a by-blood member, you then became a citizen of the United States. And so that's what many of the nations were against. And before Oklahoma became a state and before land allotment, no one person in any of our nations held land. So you could have personal property, you could own a house, but you couldn't have private property. When you died and no one in your family took care of that land would then revert to the whole nation. And so before Oklahoma became a state and before allotment, even though Chickasaw Freedmen were a citizenship list.
You gotta realize this nigga Lord Albert, BTE, and the rest of these Native Americans, listen, they trying to usher in Africa. They holding on to Africa, talking shit about the Aboriginals, because we ain't claiming Africa. What the fuck wrong with you? Shout out to Tariq Nasheed, even though he still have this lost understanding. He's trying to come out of that African shit. He's saying he's not African. He just needs some guidance from his little bro, Big Al Power. That's why I'm here. That's why I go thousands of hours worth of this Aboriginal information and science. You understand me? I'm gonna get you over here all the way. I'm gonna show you the genetics. Shout out to LTV. We gonna show you the genetics of how you ain't African. Then you just can cut it all the way out your conversation. All the way out. Because you done cut it out. You're using Aboriginal, you're using foundational black. Only thing is you keep saying we all genetically. You see, once you cut that out, it's over with. So Tyreek, let me teach you a few things. I see you struggling trying to get out of this African conversation. You just need a little guidance, and like the rest of the FBA brothers and sisters.
We were ranching on hundreds of acres of land that was like mostly free range because our ancestors lived in commonly held communities. That's what made our community so strong, is that no one person owned the land. We all owned land in common together throughout all of the tribes.
Now let me just add this real quick.
Yes.
About the 14th Amendment, because this is something that I was thinking about for a while, and I posit this in terms of the statelessness and why I think that the Chickasaw, at the very least, would have a claim against the United States for not protecting them, because.
Hey, just by a show of fire emojis in the chat, how many of y'all classify yourself as an FBA? Shout out to my Aboriginal brothers and sisters. This question is not for y'all. How many of my brothers and sisters in the chat identify under FBA? I need to know. Show me. I need to know. So drop them fire emojis. It's going to let me know if you're FBA in the chat. I just need to see how many in here, because I got some questions, and I want a couple of you to come on the panel because I got a couple questions for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I want to see where your lineage is tied to, just for a consensus basis. So make sure y'all hit that like button.
The 14th Amendment says, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and not subject to the jurisdiction, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States. Now, here's the thing. the Chickasaw people, a lot of them were born in the United States, or the territory was known as the United States, and should have rightfully been covered, because if they didn't have allegiance to the Chickasaw Nation and the Chickasaw Nation had no allegiance to them, they should have had birthright citizenship underneath the 14th Amendment, just like any other natural born person. That's just my opinion about it, my observation in terms of what the United States should have done in order to protect these people, so that they're not stateless, but honor the principle of just soli, just sanguinis, as they were natural born.
Hey, so listen, the brothers that dropped them fire emojis as FBA, I'm gonna be dropping the link in the chat for you guys to come on. I got a couple questions for you guys, so just be ready to hit that link when I drop that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to all my FBA. Shout out to all my Aboriginal brothers and sisters that know what I'm doing out here on this platform, what the mission is, and who's willing to put in the work with Big Al Power. So shout out to y'all. Y'all know who y'all are. So let's get it in, man. Shout out to the American Indians as well. That family went through the atrocities. That's Negro, black, and color as well. So shout out to y'all as well. Let's get
natives of this land, just like any other white person. I just wanted to add that into the mix. But go ahead in, brother.
Well, I think in 1866, when the United States drafted the treaty to free our ancestors from slavery, they set conditions for the Chickasaw Nation and the Choctaw Nation, because their treaties were a joint treaty. And in the treaty, it said that if the Chickasaw Nation decided not to adopt their freedmen within 2 years, the United States government would remove all of the Chickasaw freedmen living within the Chickasaw Nation into a different part of Indian Territory. So we still wouldn't have been necessarily under the jurisdiction of the United States, because we still would have been in Indian Territory, but we would have had our own land. But like a lot of the treaties the United States signed with tribes, they didn't honor them. And so they never, the Chickasaw Nation never adopted us, and the United States also never removed us. And after a period of time, we were not going to go anywhere, because we have.
Hey, FBA brothers and sisters, I'm about to drop that link in the chat so y'all can start piling in on the panel, so I can ask y'all a few questions. Y'all can go back to the chat after you answer the question. I appreciate y'all for coming on, with the ones that do participate. Appreciate y'all. I want to get all the feedback I can from the FBA brothers and sisters, because I got a few questions that we want to put on the line, because there's a lot of people saying that y'all are certain things and certain things I don't believe, because of the conversations that I'm getting. So let's just see. I'll drop the link in the chat. Let's get a couple of these FBA brothers and sisters in here. I got my sister in here, Marcia, in the building. We got Marcia in the building with us. What's going on, sis? All right, so we'll wait on a couple of these brothers and sisters to hit the link. So while we wait on some of the FBA/Aboriginal brothers and sisters hit the link, we'll play a quick 60-second break. We'll be right back. Okay.
Made improvements on land, like raised our families on land. Our ancestors were buried in the Chickasaw Nation. So we weren't going anywhere. And people, I think, too, kind of don't understand like the time period that these things happened in, because between Oklahoma statehood, the Civil War, and the Trail of Tears, there are people alive who lived through all three of those things. The Trail of Tears for the Chickasaw Nation happened in the mid to late 1840s. That was 20 years later. The Civil War was happening in the 1860s.
FBA brothers and sisters
was a part of. They fought for the Confederacy.
Ones that classify as FBA hit the link.
And then in 1907, Oklahoma became a state. So we have ancestors who lived through the Trail of Tears, who lived through the Civil War, and who lived through Oklahoma becoming a state. And so when people are making claims about our ancestors as if they have a right to say what our history is and isn't, it's extremely disrespectful to those people who survived like multiple genocides. And then on top of that, like in 1921, people who survived the Civil War and Oklahoma statehood survived the massacre in Greenwood too, because that happened in the Creek Nation and the Cherokee Nation, because Tulsa is split between those two nations.
I have a question. All right, you wanted to say something, Ali? For Sister Janai.
Yeah, this nigga sound like Ray Ray that be coming on the panel. This nigga sound like Ray Ray. Ray, get off of there acting with them damn Pan-Africans.
The slavery element, right? Do you say that your ancestors were always here on this land, or do you say that your ancestors were enslaved by the Chickasaw tribe?
I don't say that my ancestors were always here because that's just simply not true. They were enslaved. We do have like family history saying which parts come from where. Like there's a book concerning the Hooks lineage on my family, and it says that they come from Senegal. So I would never sit up here and say that they were indigenous to America.
Yeah, dude, definitely zesty, big Gative American. Shout out to Tayshawn. This nigga is a Gative American. Hell no. That nigga wants some Chickasaw in him, whatever. This nigga zesty to the bitch. No offense. God damn.
Indeed.
And
hey,
a lot of our
I got
ancestors,
Abyssinian copper in the back. I'm
even though like
want some of my Aboriginal,
the nations they lived in, the nation that they were acculturated into was the Chickasaw Nation, right? So a lot of them, many of them spoke the Chickasaw language. A lot of our cousins still eat Chickasaw food. We name our, like, we have nicknames for each other that are in Chickasaw, and like we don't
wait. I have nicknames for the Pretendians, like Big Chief Buffalo Wings and Little.
Oh, and the thing is about Chief Top Cats too.
Big Chief Buffalo Wings. Shut your ass up, Lord Albert. I got a joke for the Indians. Shut the fuck
claim
up.
To be related to me and
get out of here.
He's
right.
claimed to be related to the Franklins.
That's what they do.
Be related to everybody. Go ahead, Grim.
And, you know, right? That's what they do. Like when they meet individuals like you all, so they won't be exposed. Because I mean, it was done to me years ago, and you know, when you expose someone, they'll say, "Oh, well, you know, you my cousin, by the way. You know, I bet you know you was related to the Greens." You know, that's how. That's the kind of stuff they do, so they won't be like basically
Tasha She type shit.
Exposed for being pretendians. I just wanted to add that.
Indeed.
Yeah, I actually have something I want to share real quick, just to the point, because we're talking about where people came from, right? And a lot of it is, no, you did not come from Africa, and no, you can't find any slave ships, and we black people, quote unquote black people, as if that's a term that means something. Like brother said, Indian really doesn't mean anything, but I'm going to tell you, for those, black doesn't really mean anything either, right? Because anybody can be considered black. They, you know, it's so
Man, ain't nobody worrying about no Freedman. Fuck. You Freeman niggas need to go back to Africa. Nigga, Freeman don't got no motherfucking point, no standing in law. Indian do. Aboriginal do. You Freeman niggas better go back to Africa.
funny. The pretendians are the same people who will tell you that that the early Americans were called black and Negro by Europeans. They keep talking about reclassification. They were called black. They were called Negroes. There's in Spanish, well, in the Spanish American colonies, they called them Negroes de Terra, right? Negroes of the land is what that means. They show you documentation. They talk about Walter Plecker very often. The man that did the work that he did in Virginia in the 1920s.
Hold on. Y'all Freedmen people are claiming to be the Negroes of the Terra that's mentioned in the Jesuit letters in the 1500s in South America. Nigga, y'all didn't get here. Y'all wasn't here. Well, hold on. When the fuck did y'all, hold on, Freedmen, y'all got enslaved by Native Americans. When did the first Native Americans get in on the slave trade, sir? Them not your peoples. Negro the terror is the Aboriginal people. Stop trying to attach yourself on to somebody motherfucking culture you paying out. That's why I need to have a discussion with these niggas. They was blocking niggas in the chat, I heard. Lord Albert talking about, I've been wanting these smoke with these Aboriginals. No, buddy. Ain't nobody heard of you. You ain't pop out nowhere. Last time I seen you, you had a fez tasseling that bitch swing and getting beat up by Garfield on Sinetta TV. Nigga, now you a black freedman? Bring your ass here, boy. I got some shit for your ass. I'm about to smoke your game. You need to come over here. Stop running.
Or 30s or whenever it was. So they're consistently talking about reclassification as being Negroes and blacks and coloreds. But the interesting thing about it is they're admitting that anybody can be black, anybody can be Negro. So that in and of itself doesn't tell you anything. They're dark-skinned people on the Indian subcontinent. There's some people in India who are darker than people in Africa. That doesn't mean that those are your people. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that those are your progenitors.
Yeah, but Negro is not describing just the phenotype. It's describing appearance in the face. It's describing your appearance in your face, your hair texture, your eyebrows, your mustache texture, and your skin tone all in one. They think it's just skin tone. No, nigga. Ain't nobody ever called no dark skinned ass East Indian a Negro. Nobody ain't calling no Australian no Negroes. Come on, man. Y'all gotta keep it real, man. Flat the fuck out.
And if you did DNA, there are people, Aboriginal people from Australia are referred to as black. They were racialized as black by white settlers from England. But those people have no African DNA the same way a white European has no African DNA. And I want to explain what I mean by that. Yes, they are of a darker skin color, but Aboriginal people's ancestors left Africa before white Europeans' ancestors left Africa. So what I'm saying is that it's about color and racialization. That doesn't mean that your ancestors came out of Africa at a time that Black Americans' ancestors came out of Africa that formed our own unique culture from being a part of the African diaspora. Those are two separate things, because Aboriginal culture is not in any, and there may be similarities to Aboriginal culture and African culture, but they are not closely related.
No, they're not the same. You just making up shit at this point, sir. You're lying. Little Native American, you lying.
In the way the Indian culture is not closely related to African culture, in the same way that a lot of cultures aren't closely related to African culture because of the time that the people have been outside the continent of Africa.
Yes.
The way that DNA works is it picks up markers from the locations that your ancestors have lived in, because we genetically adapt to our environment. So our ancestors lived in Africa for millennia. That's where people originate from. And so those markers are going to be there because of the time when our ancestors left Africa. Aboriginal people's ancestors there. Those markers are going to be there for because their ancestors lived in, which is going to be Melanesia, which is going to be Australia. So
absolutely,
if they took a DNA test, no African ancestry would come back.
Right.
And so when people are talking about skin color, is that denotes African ancestry. It's not the same thing. Black Americans are of African ancestry. And so to say that all people who are racialized as black are of African descent is false. It's incorrect. It's genetically also incorrect. It's scientifically not
brother.
sound.
I want to, Ali, before you go in real quick, let me address Lady Spade. Calling people Pretendians is an insult.
Like, listen, that's an insult to y'all, man. Think about it. A few puny, weak-ass white men that's barely made it out of a dark ages, sick with diseases, famine struck, done gathered up some strong building, intelligent, science-making Africans and put them on a boat and constantly kept reeing up with them niggas in Africa. Come on, man. They was knocking off Africans left and right, going back, reeing up without any money. That's a lie. Puny little struggling white man They snatched up some strong people and put them on a boat, stuffed them in sardine form, chained them up, and ain't nothing happened besides your ass got enslaved. You got put on a farm, beat, butt broken, and threw in a form and told to mate with your ancestors and your family members to create stronger little versions of you. You believe that shit? Seriously. Y'all need to leave that Native American. Y'all been watching too many 12 Years of Slave shit. Like, seriously. Y'all niggas Chicken George. Chicken George would have been a freedman. Chicken George would have been a freedman, nigga. I ain't even gonna lie. This shit is bullshit. Seriously. Said we been here. Only boat they put us on was citizenships. Nigga, what you said? The only boat that we got on was a citizenship. You understand me? The ship to become a citizen, nigga. That's the only boat we got on. We've been exiled in our own land. Shout out to my nigga who is. Yeah, these niggas chicken jaws. Yeah.
When you don't know their lineage, we all have different lineages, right? So this brother and this sister has.
Yeah, niggas acting like, oh, the Aboriginal. Nigga, we got beat on paper, man. Let's just beat it real. We got beat on paper. We got beat on paper, man. Ain't nobody ever physically came in and just start beating us. The only time you seen our people getting beat on was in Jim Crow. That's after they became in the political field, grabbed a hold of the judicial system, and they was able to use that against us. Before they had the grips on the judicial system, we was putting hands, feet, elbows, and head on the motherfucker. Headbutting motherfucker. Man, that shit wasn't going on. Y'all think y'all ancestors were some punks. They just recently got power in like the 1920s. When you started hearing this back to Africa shit, they started slowly taking over the political infrastructure in in that particular field. That's a fact.
Got up here today. And they've proven their lineage. They've brought records. They didn't come up here and say, I feel that I'm an Indian in my DNA. Somebody got some background there.
Hold on, that's probably me. Let me mute. Yeah.
I'm gonna be quick. Your proof can't. No, matter of fact, he said to me, and this is Mel. He said, I don't have to prove anything to you. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I feel that I am an Indian, or whatever term he used, because it's in my DNA.
Battle axe. I made that all up. Coming from the nigga who believed the Bible with his heart. Come on, man. Stop playing with me, G. Seriously.
It's exactly what he said to me. So, none of these, their brothers are not saying it. Their sisters, their cousins, their aunties, their uncles, their mothers. They never bring these people on. They never bring them on. Here, we have two cousins that just went through their genealogy. So they are insulted by us calling them pretendians. They should be. They should be. Yeah, go ahead, Brother Ali.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is this, right, in terms of the African lineage of, you'll get people who use certain scholarship, right? Alexander von Wuthenow, for instance, and the terracottas in Mesoamerica. You'll get people who will talk about the findings of Van Sertima, which is based on the works of people like Leo Weiner, right? And others who came before him. And the interesting thing that I pointed out to someone, to a couple of them before, is that
States in Indian Territory. Because in the nations, when the Dawes allotment happened, every individual citizen of these nations were given their own allotments of land. So man, woman, and child, if you had 10 kids and you were enrolled as a by-blood citizen of the Chickasaw Nation, you would receive anywhere from, I think it was 160 to 280 acres. And that wasn't for a family, that was per person. So if your wife was Chickasaw, she was getting her land, and all of your children were getting land as well. And so there were freedmen families that had 10 kids in the Creek Nation.
Hey, Lucky Guzman, if your ancestors was butt fucked in front of other black people and beat the fuck out of, then that's your shit. My peoples didn't get done like that, fam.
Creek freedmen received 160 acres of land. So at the time that Oklahoma became a state, Creek freedmen, as an ethnic group, held 1 million acres of land. And Sarah Rector, who people talk a lot about, was a Creek freedman, and her wealth came from oil being discovered on her land allotment. And so a part of the reason why there are still so many all-black towns in Oklahoma, a part of the reason why Greenwood was the most successful black community in America at the time, was because of the land allotments that freedmen have that we were able to leverage for the betterment of our own communities that black folks from the United States of America also lived in when Oklahoma became a state. And a lot of freedmen lost their land allotments because they were stolen from them, because there was no protection, because we were not given a blood quantum. So we were enrolled as freedmen, and because we were not given a blood quantum, the United States government didn't see fit to protect our land allotments. And so a lot of white grafters came in and were able to steal our land allotments, and not everyone spoke English. And my cousin, Buck Cober Franklin, was a lawyer who helped people fight for their land allotments. And he did a lot of land allotment advocacy work in Oklahoma and Indian Territory. But yeah, the Franklins, the part of Oklahoma our family is from, me and Janae can go down there and we would find cousins.
These niggas, man, I'm gonna skip it up a little bit.
And in all of the southeastern tribes is through white people kind of making a bastardization of the traditional kinship ties of those nations. So traditionally, and I'm talking pre-contact, and a lot of the times, like a century or two following, Chickasaws made contact with white folks in the 1500s. It was in 1549, I think, Hernando de Soto came into the Chickasaw and Choctaw Nation. And so that was over 400 years ago. But traditionally, being Chickasaw or being Choctaw was only determined on your mother, because we were people of matrilineal descent. So what was more important than being Chickasaw or Choctaw was your clan, because that dictated your role in society and a bunch of other things. But your nation, what your tribal identity was based off of your mother. And that's very similar to a lot of African countries where your ethnic group is determined on your mother's ancestry.
Hey, the link is in the chat too, man. The link is in the chat. I would like to get some of them FBA brothers and sisters on, because I got a few questions. Lucky Guzman, you're a tether, G. You ain't even from America. You're a Puerto Rican.
And so if your father was white, if your father was black, if your father was Creek, if your father was Cherokee, if your mother was Chickasaw, you were Chickasaw. That's where you got your clan from. That's where your main identity was. Your mother's brother was actually closer to you than your own father a lot of the times in Native nations. And so when Chickasaw people started coming into contact with white people, Chickasaw people, and this is for all of the southeastern tribes, I would say, people of higher status clans would marry white people, white traders, for influence and for.
Hey, Battle Axe, stop trying to convince my strong-minded FBA Aboriginal brothers and sisters when you need to go be fighting for reparations in Israel, nigga. Your ass is an Israelite.
To bring resources into their communities. But these white men were also trading cattle, stock, and another form of cattle and property was people of African descent. And so these white men would bring in people that they enslaved, or they would start plantations in these nations. They would have Chickasaw.
Guzman, we already called you out, bro. Your last name Guzman, which is a Puerto Rican name, nigga. Now, you're a Rican. You're a tether.
Wives. And so their children would go on to inherit their property, and their children wouldn't be seen as half white or half whatever because their mother was Chickasaw. There was no idea of being half of something. You either were or you weren't. And so their children went on to inherit their slaves. And so that's how it happened. Our family was owned by people who were related through generations in the nations. They were owned by members of the same family. And so that's how slavery got started in the Chickasaw Nation and all of the southeastern nations. And so there is no better form of slavery. There were slave narratives where a woman talked about how brutal one of her slave masters was and how she knew a woman who couldn't get her slave master's baby to stop crying. And so he whipped her so badly she couldn't breastfeed her own children. So there's no better.
And this is an actual Chickasaw that did that?
Yes. And a lot of, not all of them, but a lot of the people who were slave owners in the southeastern nations were mixed with white. They were part white and part native. And a lot of freedmen who are also native by blood, their ancestors were also white and native. I went to school with people whose family members own mine, like in high school, because Oklahoma is like small. And if you know people's last names from some of these families, you know who their ancestors were. So I went to school with people whose ancestors own my ancestors. And so when you ask me how I feel about Chickasaw and Choctaw people, we're not recognized as native by the...
Which one of you niggas ever went to school with some people that owned your ancestors? This nigga sound docile as fuck. How many of y'all went to school with some niggas who owned your ancestors? Did y'all just hear this bullshit? Look at it. He proud of it too.
The federal government or by those nations because they disenrolled our ancestors. But they have no more claim over indigeneity or being native than we do. And also a part of that has to do with the fact that these are tribes of lineal descent. And that's a point I think a lot of people, especially a lot of folks who just aren't familiar with Native communities and aren't familiar with Oklahoma, don't understand, because they'll meet people who are citizens of the Cherokee Nation, have a card, and are white, blonde hair, blue-eyed white. Their last full-blood ancestor was alive when George Washington was president. But their ancestors from that point on, even though they continued to marry white people, those white people were immigrating into the Cherokee Nation because it was...
I've been hearing this shit since 1991. Nobody want to keep hearing this bullshit. I've been asking the same question. Show proof. They ain't got no proof. They ain't got no proof that none of these people that they call their ancestors was Africans that was enslaved. They ain't got no proof. And neither do you, Battle Axe. Talking about you from Africa. Ain't got an African slave in your document. You need to cut it out, bro. I'm telling you. Go back to Israel.
Sovereign nation and marrying people in those nations. So even though they were marrying white people, they still were citizens of that nation. Went on the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma, and their white descendants are still enrolled. There's people who are 1/1000 Cherokee that are enrolled in those nations because all it takes is having an ancestor who was a citizen of those tribes at the time that Oklahoma became a state. But if you are a freedman or a person of African descent in those nations whose ancestors are on the freedman roll, if your ancestors were citizens of those tribes at the time that Oklahoma became a state, you cannot enroll those.
Battle Axe, I got one question. Yes or no? I don't want to hear nothing else. Was your ancestors beat the fuck up and stuffed on slave ships? Yes or no? Battle Axe, was your ancestors beat the shit out of and stuffed on slave ships? Answer yes or no.
Tribes because of the enrollment status those tribes have kept. So we're discriminated against by Chickasaw and Choctaw people, but they have no more right over our identity, to Chickasaw identity, to Choctaw identity than we do. The Chickasaw Nation uses ethnographic work that was done or recorded from the knowledge of Chickasaw freedmen. When you look at the history, there's so much knowledge our ancestors had about being Chickasaw. Even their slave masters, in one of the narratives, this woman was asking her slaves what her dream meant. Like, we were a part of that community, regardless of how messy and the ways that happened throughout statehood. So even being enrolled or not being enrolled, it doesn't mean that we're not a part of Indian territory, and it doesn't mean our history is our history. So that's not something they can take from us. And a lot of them are white and are very racist. I've got cousins on Ancestry who are Trump supporters and are citizens of the Choctaw Nation, and his wife works for the Choctaw Nation. And they're both Trump supporters. And they can enroll as citizens of those nations because their ancestors were white and native, and my ancestors were black and native and were put on the freedman roll. But do I think that those people have more of a right to Choctaw identity than I do? No, not at all.
Indeed. Did you all see, we have a question coming from Dean Smith. I'm going to try to get to some of the questions in the chat. Dean's
Battle Axe. So you say yes, your ancestors did. Well, listen, I'm sorry you come from a weak lineage, fam. You got to deal with that. You feel me? Go deal with that. What part of Africa did your peoples come from? And can you provide any proof of that? Bet he can't.
Smith asked, did basically, did y'all see the Skip Gates and Don Cheadle lineage video?
Yeah, I saw the Henry Louis Gates Jr. and Don Cheadle video. Don Cheadle is a Chickasaw freedman. Cheadle is a Chickasaw. It's an English last name, but if you're from Oklahoma, the Cheadle last name is a Chickasaw name, and people that are black that have it are Chickasaw freedmen. My lunch lady at school was a Cheadle when I was in high school, and so like Oklahoma is that small that like I went to school with my lunch lady at school was one of Don Cheadle's relatives.
Wow.
And Don Cheadle's ancestor was a Kemp who fought in the Civil War to end slavery in Indian Territory, just like me and Janai's relative, Buckover Franklin, or not Buckover Franklin, his father, David Franklin, did in the Indian Home Guard. So, I mean, our history is well documented. Even if some of the descendants of these people don't know it, you go back to your great-grandparents, you just have to get back to 1907 and you immediately have access to that because our ancestors did not live in the United States and all of our ancestors received land allotments. And so there's a documented history there. And not only does it tell you who your ancestors were, it tells you who their parents were and who their parents were enslaved to. And so we're able to piece together so much of our genealogy from these records that Oklahoma statehood has been taken from us because our families all lived in the country. And then with the Dust Bowl, with the Great Depression, all these things that happened when Oklahoma became a state and segregation, we ended up moving to cities. That's why Janai's family ended up
this basically answers
ended up in Oklahoma City.
Look, EYB Entertainment, this basically answers the question that you have up on the screen where you say, I think it's more complicated. What about freedmen who fled to the south, to the north, but have a claim to tribal inheritance? I mean, they still have that claim.
This nigga really swear he killing the Aboriginal community. These niggas be tripping. You ain't doing a motherfucking thing, nigga.
I mean, I don't know what freedmen he's talking about, because if their ancestors were citizens of like if their ancestors were free from slavery in the United States, they became U.S. citizens.
Play something real quick. I want to show the difference between what people who are genuine teach and what those people who are disingenuous teach. Now, this is for the audience and this is for our guests as well. Just give us a second.
All right,
all right, this is a conversation we're having with legendary Chief Top Cap. I'm not gonna play this whole thing. I'm gonna just play a few seconds of it basically, and then we're gonna comment on it and we're gonna close this thing out. Pay attention,
when the Spanish
family.
guy here, these are the people that they came across.
Wait, let me pause this. Notice,
stop it right there. Go ahead.
So, notice, and I want you all to look at everything that's going on here. I'm gonna let it play out, but I want you to see what he has up on the screen. Jacksonville Historical Society. I'm guessing that he pronounces it as Tamiqua, so I'm going to pronounce it as Tamiqua.
No,
I don't know. I don't think that it is. It looks like
it's Tamuqua.
Tamuqua, but he's calling it the Tamiqua because that's how you would say it if you was like from Texas somewhere or America. Right? Right? That's exactly how you would say it.
You would think an indigenous person know how to speak the tongue, right? You've been here since forever. You indigenous, right?
Notice it says native appearance.
Nigga, shut your African wanna be enslaved by Indians ass up. Nigga, it's the Tamiqua. Nigga, fuck is you talking about? You niggas don't speak the language. We know all about this culture, man. Tell whoever bring his ass here. And tell this nigga with this motherfucking hat backwards, this stupid ass to come here.
Appearances on this top line right here in the second column, native from his Jacksonville Historical Society. So let's let this play.
These are the Tamiqua people, all right? These Tamiqua people, they're what you call a Muskogee stock down south. This is the Mississippi Mound Builders. And
this is legendary Chief Top Cap. Y'all listening to, family. Watch this. Just give us a few minutes.
So if y'all
which Europeans are you talking about though?
What? Wait a minute. Let me go back. Hold on.
Yeah, because he said, yeah. Anyway.
We missed something. That we are the true indigenous Americans. Like, I mean, come on. I had to address that. All right, what do you have up on the screen? Let's take a look.
All right, when the Spanish got here, these are the people that they came across. These are the Tamiqua people. All right, this Tamiqua people, they're what you call a Muskogee stock down south. This is the Mississippi Mound Builders.
So this was all cap, y'all. So I just want to play this one part real quick, because this dude was just on here lying, family. He said that the Spaniards that came here seen that these people were the this is how they depicted themselves with that statue that we see right there. But we knew that this was an absolute lie. So one of the things that we did was they depicted themselves. This is how they looked. You heard it the first time, then you heard him say it again with confidence. With confidence. So let's read something real quick. This is called the Green Vault. It is a museum located in Dresden, Germany, which contains the largest treasure collection in Europe. Baroque creation depicted themselves, but this is a Moor with emerald clusters in the Green Vault Museum in Germany. Let's get a little deeper into the research here. The symposium. All right, I'll announce the name. And it says, selected engravings by Theodore de Bry after watercolors by Jacques Lemoyne de Morgues, artists with the French expeditions to Florida under Jean Rabot, 1562, and I'm going to try to say this French name, and René Goulien de
blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, him, right? Published 1591. These are the images that they show of these people. These are the people this artist went with, this French. Remember that legendary Top Cap said it was the Spanish.
Right.
Remember that, y'all.
Right.
Because Ali Bey said, which Europeans are you talking about? No, it was the French. This guy's a liar.
Does he ever know what he's talking about?
All right, we could leave it there, family. I just wanted to leave you all with that and give honors to our guests for coming on tonight, and I wanted you all to see a contrast between the actual people that know what they're talking about and the people that lie. They won't come up here and bring their, they won't bring their.
That's a
Ross said I got to work on my French. Yeah, I got to work on my French. Dane Calloway won't come. Legendary Top Cap, he'll come and lie. Right? He will come and lie.
Nobody coming to your little puny ass channel, dude. If you want that smoke, come over here to Big Al Power, man. My link always in the chat, and we're gonna source you to death. And we the niggas who brought in the same niggas you calling out. They learned from the best. They just left class early. Understand me?
But we'll shut him down. He hasn't been back since.
Me. He just left class early. So if you want the big dogs, come over here.
I called for the debate on Sarnetta's channel. Sarnetta called me and said, Joe, Abba, it's been a couple days, and Top Cap never hit me back. He said he was doing something with, I don't know, lady friend, white, whatever, and he said he would hit me back. He said he ain't called me back yet. He said, I don't think he want no smoke with you, Lord Abba. Of course, Sarnetta, legendary Top Cap, or his little underling, Ishmael Bey, they want no smoke. We don't got to get ignorant or niggerish. We can just present information, which is what Sister Janai and Brother Ian.
Hold on. That nigga Top Cat running around with Ishmael Bey? Somebody confirm that in the chat. This nigga running around with Ishmael Bey. Ishmael Bey is one of the biggest Pan-African advocates I've ever seen. Yo, that nigga suck. He's running around with that nigga. What's going on? Something smell fishy.
He did here tonight. They showed and proved.
Somebody smell like an
They showed and proved. So I'm going to.
And the funny thing is about Ishmael Bey, I gotta say,
go ahead.
when the Creek Freedman band, Maxine Waters is a supporter of freedmen from Indian Territory and was having this legislative process. There was legislative process involving Native people going on in housing, and she wanted to include freedmen in it. And there was a lot. That was like the first time in a long time there had been talk in Congress about the treaty rights of freedmen. And so after that, there are several organizations also that we have in Oklahoma.
So I'm gonna end this video right there, man. That's pretty much it right there. Y'all heard the freedmen bullshit. Throw it in the garbage. It's a nothing muffin. You can't, it ain't nothing worth eating on, man. That is bullshit. That is a shit sandwich without the bread. You understand me? That is no good. I'm going to drop that link one more time, man, for those that want to pop on, man. I want to have a conversation with my FBA brothers and sisters, man. So the FBA brothers and sisters, drop them fire emojis in the chat and hit that link that you see in the chat. Hit the link, follow the steps, and jump on this panel. While we do that, we're going to take a quick 60-second break. We'll be back.
See, my life has been in motion. I'm a little windy. I'm not giving up yet. If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back. Got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jail. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. Fake love, that snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it.
All right, maybe we ain't got too many FBA brothers and sisters in the chat right now. I usually do them bills in the morning. Shout out to all my American Aborigines and my American Indian brothers and sisters in the chat. How many of y'all in the chat right now? Can y'all drop them fire emojis? Can we drop them fire emojis in the chat? All my American Indians, all my American Aborigines in the chat. Shout out to my FAAA, my Foundational Aboriginal Americans in the chat. For those that might be freedmen in the chat, just say I'm a freedman in the chat. Let me know if y'all where y'all stand. I just see what's going on. Nobody hit the link, so I probably will just be moving on. Probably end this live stream in just a second. Probably get a few questions from the chat if nobody's going to hit this link. Battle Axe, you're more than welcome to hit that link as well. All right, it's a lot about Aboriginal Indian brothers in here. We deep. All right. All right, now I see y'all deep in this motherfucker. All right. Represent, goddamn. Stand up. Get on code. We got Battle Axe in the building. Hold on just a second. Yeah, we'll let them on. We got a couple other brothers on here. I like some of these Freedman brothers, FBA brothers and sisters to come on. So we got a couple of the brothers on right now. So shout out to my man Arthur Livingston. What's going on?
Hey brother, how you doing, man?
Man, salute OG.
Listening, man. That there, them Freedman brothers, you know, they don't know no better, man. You know, I was always taught and raised. I'm 62, and sometimes you got to raise up suckers, or you got to raise up your brothers. You got to teach them what's right. And how you do that is by an example. And we have to be an example, period. You understand?
Hey,
we got to come together.
Right. So shout out to you, Arthur. Shout out to you, OG. Hey, so you one of the brothers identify with the FBA, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Shout out to you, man. So now, where do your lineage tied to? Where's your lineage at? Is it Africa? Is it America? What have you found doing your lineage check, doing this genealogy research?
I'm on that search now. I got a nephew doing a lot of searching. When I was coming up, I never heard anything about coming from Africa. My grandparents used to always tell me that we Blackfoot Cherokee. I have pictures of showing that is in our bloodline. You know, I am that way. Like I said, I never heard that until they was teaching that madness. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
I'm from the DC. I'm from DC, Washington, DC, right?
What's going on, Slim?
How you doing, brother? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I survived, so I'm 62. and I'm here to learn who I am. And I'm around a lot of brothers, and my God teaches me. He sends a lot of brothers to teach me His knowledge. So I get knowledge from you. I get knowledge from all over. You know, even my God, He give me knowledge from even my enemies. Listen, what I'm trying to say to you.
You got to.
You know,
So
so I listen to a lot. I'm hearing what you're saying. I listen to a lot of brothers. I even hear different kind of brothers. We talk about brothers, but you got brothers doing the work because they want to know the truth, and they not indigenous, aboriginal like us. You got a brother named Kamura. He do his research, and I need that knowledge what he put down. I don't care where he's from, who he is. I listen to Dame. That's one of my brothers. I'm hooked on you, brother, and a lot of brothers from here because you true brothers speaking about us. You understand? It's about us. And then once we get it, and we can help others. But until it's about us inside, man. We got to work from within. We've done a lot of harm to ourselves. We got to take the blame for what we have done. We can't blame nobody else no more. So we don't let nobody else in so we can hear all this madness. Once we straighten ourselves out, then we can do what we do. But in the meantime, all this madness they talking, people want to come in. Let them start.
Yeah, they talk a lot of that bullshit. And I just want to show how this information, a lot of brothers are gonna grow no matter what time you came into this information. I see a lot of you FBA brothers are easy to work with. Y'all already cut yourself from Africa. You're looking into your lineage. You're respecting what grandma said, and it's beautiful. So I appreciate you for coming on, big brother. Don't go nowhere, because I want you to stay on here. We're gonna get into more conversation. But I'm allowed brother Smoke Signal to give me a story. What up, Smoke Signal? What's going on, big bro?
Salute.
You identify as FBA?
Nah, man, I just use the term nigga because this is mutually exclusive. Ain't nobody else really trying to use that term because they know they ain't no nigga. So I just stick right there.
All right. So since you do use the term, where your lineage tied to?
It all go back to America. I ain't found nothing outside of like Mississippi. That's where my mother's from, and my mother's father's from Mississippi, and my daddy. His whole family go back to Texas, so it's all America. I ain't found nothing else.
That's what. So I just want to confirm, because a lot of people throwing out the fact that a lot of these FBAs are pushing Africa, going to Africa. We're African, and I want to say that's a lie. So just by your testimony contradicts that right there. So I appreciate you, Smoke Signal, for coming on. It's don't go nowhere. I'm gonna get to you in a second. We'll be back to with the rest of the brothers and sisters in just a second. B1 reparations. What's going on? You got B1 in the building, y'all. You got to unmute yourself if you're speaking. Unmute yourself, B1.
Yo, what's good? You can hear me, fam?
Salute. What's going on, B1? You got to unmute. Maybe we'll come back to B1 reparations in just a second.
Hello?
B1, you on her?
Hello?
You on her? Can you hear us? You might want to get off and come back on. I think your mic might be acting up. I definitely want to hear your side.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, you good? Okay, it might be a delay there. It might just be a delay.
Okay, I'll get off and come back on.
Yeah, it's a delay. Yeah, you can get off and come back on, and I'll let you back on, bro. Appreciate you for coming on. God of the Geechies, what's going on?
What up with it, bro?
And App TV, man, what's going on? You the OG around here, man. What's going on with it?
I can't call it. I'm just sitting in the cut.
How you feel about some of these FBA brothers and sisters coming along? They gravitating to the information, they checking their lineage, they recognizing they aboriginal or indigenous inheritance. How you feel about that, brother?
I mean, that's music to my ears. You know what I'm saying? That's what we set out to do this. When at least a lot of us did. Maybe some of us.
We set out to do what, big bro? Just confirming for the people one more time.
I mean, I don't know. I think let me just give y'all a quick personal story. I think I talked to this nigga AP about 5 years ago, and I think this was before we both had channels. And I think we had a conversation then, and we had both pretty much confirmed that we was gonna be pushing this information. We was gonna be going hard. I remember you saying you was gonna help me get my channel together, all that good stuff. We pretty much all our brothers, Chief, A1, all the brothers that y'all seen from the early, we all pretty much, came to an agreement that this is the mission, right? We're gonna go to the people who don't understand, who have never heard this information before, and we're gonna give them the opportunity to hear it and let them make the choice and the ultimate decision on what they believe is true and what they can apply to their realities. You know what I'm saying? That is the mission. So, I see people getting upset about it, but at the end of the day, you do what the fuck you did, and what you've been doing without us. You know what I'm saying? You do this shit on your own. I do what I do on my own. Chief do what he do on his own. You know what I'm saying? People actually are inspired to do this shit by themselves. It ain't because we all came together and made some people doing what their heart is inspiring them to do. So let people do what the fuck they doing, man. I digress.
Man, you already know I couldn't have said it better, bro. And I appreciate you. You know that conversation that we had 5 years ago. We just look at the progression, look at the amount of people who you impacted just through your information that you stress. So we appreciate your work as well, brother, in the community. Man, I want to make this clear to a lot of these people. I'm not saying every single little fucking Negro in America is an Aboriginal, but I'm saying the goddamn vast majority is, okay? So, hey, don't do now, hey, cut the nonsense. The vast majority of niggas in America know they lineage. They're not confused. They might not call it what you call it nowadays, but we know who the fuck we are. Okay, so don't get it confused. I'm not saying each and every. Some of y'all are from Africa. Some of y'all are from down Australia. Some of y'all are from goddamn Timbuktu. So that's not who I'm talking to. Shout out to B1 Reparations. What's going on, big brother? B1 Reparations.
Hey, what's going on, family? How y'all doing?
Let me know. You say you identify as FBA, and since you do,
I think his audio messed up or something.
He on a delay. He'll catch it in about 2 seconds. Watch this.
Hello?
Can you hear me? B1, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, fam. There's a delay going on.
Can you hear me now, though, sir? I just want to make sure. I know it's a delay, so I understand where you at.
Yes, I
can delay, so I understand where you at. All right, so I want you to let the people know what's going on. Maybe you got to come off and get a device, big brother. Maybe you gotta get another device on. I want to allow the brother, not a coincidence, to speak here on the panel. Back on. I was getting right around to you. I'm getting to my brothers first. Israel last on the list, nigga. But I was gonna get to you. So shout out to Not a Coincidence. What's going on, Not a Coincidence? Peace and blessings, brother.
Peace. What's going on with you?
Shit, long time to speak. What's going on with you?
Same old shit. I was wondering, like, with the FBA shit, are they like a new FBA or something?
Hold these brothers on the panel?
Yeah, because if you go to the FBA website, it says something different than what these people are saying.
Yeah, I don't think they confined it by what a website say. I think because when it's a lineage thing, no one person can confine what these people lineage says, right? So, but what Tyreek is doing is slowly trying to come out of this Africa thing. So as you see him now, it's not the way his mind state was currently when he created this web page. So eventually, it's going to be developing and changing going on. These people are trying to shake away from Africa. They're doing it gracefully, and we're helping them guide them to the Aboriginal lineage that they have. That we're not denying if they do have African lineage. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to get anybody to shame on. I'm going to get people to recognize your lineage in general. So if you have that, embrace it. If you don't, embrace your Aboriginal heritage, which is one of the least amount of cultures in our community that get embraced. So that's all.
I feel you, but you're not FBA though.
No, I'm not an FBA, but if we're dealing with lineage, then FBAs are my brothers and sisters. They're Negroes. I'm a Negro. You see what I'm saying?
So they're gonna change the flag too? Because they gotta change the flag then.
Yeah, they might got to do a lot of changing, big bro. I'm not here to change their movement. I'm only here to guide them, brother.
Because one of them stars stands for the Africans that came here enslaved. So I'm trying to figure out how they're going to get around that flag and the star if they're not African. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do a lot of changing when they come into this Aboriginal heritage, which which they are. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? This shit is still at the beginning. They just now understanding that they can get rid of a certain word to stand on this, you know what I mean? So we pushing the foundational Aboriginal American just to usher them into this Aboriginal lineage. Genealogy is key in this process. So a lot of these people was making these websites and these things before really checking into their genealogy and cutting off Africa. A lot of them still have ties and connect to Africa, as you still heard through the conversation of Tyreek. That's why we still educate him. He's still learning as well.
Man, I'm not even on there, man. It's a Y on the screen.
What's going on, Y? What's going on?
What's going on, man? What's going on? I've been meaning to jump on here, man. You know what I'm saying?
State your name and where you from, big bro.
Oh man, shoot, I'm Unquay, man. Shoot, man. I had, man, it's crazy how these people talk, man, because, I can say, though, probably like 5 to 7 years ago, man, I didn't know nothing about none of this, man. And, like, I listened to brothers like Two Hawks, you, Dane Calloway, you know what I'm saying? Y'all opened me up to a whole nother world, man. Like, I started researching. I used to always think, like, hey, the Africa thing, I used to always think that were unks and all, man. I started doing research, man. I always knew something was weird, because my last name, people used to make fun of my last name, you know what I'm saying? I ain't know, man. I found out, man, I got into the research, man. I found actual documents of everything. That the Unquay, I seen other people even claiming they Unquay Hunway or whatever and saying that. And I'm like, man, we actually exist. Like, it's people actually with the Unquay last name like me. And my family, we got records dating way back, in New Jersey area. I'm from Atlanta, but my father was from New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? And man, like I got so many documents, man. I even submitted something. One of my cousins, he go to Harvard, and he took all my research, man, and showed it to the Smithsonian. And even they said that the research was correct. So, all the brothers that's just keep researching, man, like, because I didn't know nothing, man. And then I found out I got a tribe on almost every side of my family. Almost every one of my great grandmothers is from
If you go back so far, you're gonna be connecting to where it ain't tribes, it's just nations, it's just people here and contributions, and we're gonna get into some of the contributions of the so-called FBA and the Aboriginal brothers. Some of y'all might not even know what some of your ancestors is in contribution of. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get into some of the ancient history of your ancestors as well, what they don't want to speak about. So
exactly. Let me say one thing, AP. Hey, man, something that was so crazy. You know how they talk about Peru, right? The craziest thing is, the whole South America thing. They talk about Peru and with the original people, the Aboriginals, right? We even go back to Peru. I have an original handmade seal.
Absolutely, sir.
I have a handmade seal. And I look like what you would call a Negro. You know what I'm saying? What they would call us Negroes. So what are they really saying? You see what I'm saying? I carry the name and everything. So I know a lot of us Aboriginals, man. We just got to do the work. That's all, man. Straight up.
Right. I've been going on Corral Soupe for the last 4 years. We talked about how Corral, and the world didn't want to talk about Corral Soupe because it's one of the oldest civilizations in the world. It's older than the oldest one in Africa. It's older than the one in Mesopotamia. So when you start mentioning the Feeks, you got to mention the Americas, and it goes against the out of Africa theory, because why would Africans leave out of Africa to build their first monument?
Right.
You understand me?
We own that, by the way, in the metaverse too.
We've been here.
Yeah, we've been here. They ain't nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Turtle Island, we been here.
Yeah, you know the
Straight
thing
up.
A lot
is,
of people was confused on the genetics because people like to think, oh, we're all genetically from Africa. You hear Tyreek often say that, but we single-handedly disemboweled this genetic connection between Africa. Shout out to my brother Aboriginal TV who on the panel, who's one of the who I say is a genetic expert at this point. You see what I'm saying? Thousands of hours towards that particular subject, and he's done put it on the line, proven time and time again that America has some of the oldest DNA and that it's not connected to Africa. No DNA is associated with a landmass. No DNA can tell you that you from a landmass. You see what I'm saying? DNA is only associated with the body, with the blood, with the lineage. It can only be tied to a lineage, not a landmass. We got my brother 111 Truth on the panel. Shout out to 111 Truth Searcher on the panel. What's going on, big bro?
Man, peace to the guys. What's good with the Kings on here?
Man, we just kicking it, man. Just building. Our FBA brothers, Aboriginal brothers on here. It's just a beautiful build, man.
Yeah, I see, bro, man. Shout out to the FBA brothers up here. I see Smoke Signal. I see Ab TV. Salute to the guy. I even see Not a Coincidence down there.
What up? What up?
What's good?
Peace.
I don't know who the Y brother is, but salute to
That's
you too, brother.
That's the brother on Q. He just fresh on. Shout out to him.
Man, that's what's up. Welcome back to the bricks, bro.
For sure.
So what y'all know you got some fire for us, Truth. What you got for us? How you feel about this work, man? Like I said, and I'm asking you because I know you one of them brothers. I need help bridging this gap between our lost brothers and sisters. You feel what I'm saying? I'm just doing what we always said to do. Trey Ali said he coming back for the blacks and John Doe's, and that's what I'm doing. And I need help with that, brother. You willing to help Big Al Power bridge this gap?
Man, on God, you know, I've been told you, man, I support what you're doing because I see what you're doing. At the end of the day, bro, we all the same people. We just separated on titles. So it's all about bridging the gap. And the good thing about the thing that you're doing is that even though the FBA brothers is still using like black, and, you know, a lot of us might disagree with that, but we not willing to get in our feelings and get caught up with semantic with words and understanding that right now they're preaching lineage. And we know them searching their lineage, what is going to bring them to. And then the fact that Tyreek have lately been, you know, tying in the Aboriginal with his, you know, with his language, the way he's speaking, that's also being planted in their head. So while they searching his lineage, they starting to go across that, and then they coming over here and motherfuckers is giving them that more detailed shit. You feel me? Like, even like with the genetic shit you was talking about, man, Ab TV, man, motherfucker, we demolished that shit. Like, you know, what it is that, yeah, we're all genetically connected and shit, but certain groups of people share certain private mutations that other people don't. And amongst us, we have certain private mutations that we do not share with them people up over there, even though they're only using a certain few private mutations to try to connect us and shit.
Facts.
You feel me? So they playing games with this DNA because the archaeological study, along with the craniology and the skeletal remains study, you know what, it keep coming back. It ain't coming back to that. So, you know, like this bridging the gap, and then, you know, the refresher course of the information in this shit, and the fact that a lot of y'all brothers and sisters and shit, you know, man, include myself, like we've been so indulged in this shit for so many years that, yeah, we might have gave it fire back in the day, but repeating it now, you're more detailed into it to where, like, nigga, we just knocking it out the park with a few short sentences and shit.
You know, brothers, I think the masses that got powers get scared. They're sending a lot of folks like African brothers that has nothing to do with the Aboriginal people here to stir up some problems because they know we're about to take over. The power's about to change hands. Let's look at it like it is. They don't want it to be passed down to the next generation. They want to continue doing what they've been doing for the generation beforehand. They want to keep on applying that same madness, but we waking up. So what they do is they allow folks to tap in here. Now, brothers, I open my eyes up to a lot of things, but it's a great feeling to have other brothers feel like you do on this path of learning more knowledge. You understand me? And plus, you got a lot of brothers that's on this site and sisters that's on this site that we need this. Because we've been living a false life for years. You understand? We got fervor. We got fire. I'm ready to die for this thing.
That's
You
a
understand
fact.
what I'm saying? You got brothers and sisters ready to die for this. Because I got grandkids. You dig what I'm saying? That need to know something different. I can't teach them this madness that was
Gotta
taught.
give them something different. We gotta have something
right.
tangible.
And I
We-
can't teach them false madness that was taught to me. You understand me? So I do my research. I listen to a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. I'm on this thing. You know, this African thing, I ain't nowhere near it. I don't even think about it. I know the truth.
Right.
I'm just trying to enhance our people where we can go because we supposed to be the light to the world, period. See, we got to learn who we supposed to be as who we are.
Hey,
You know,
OG, let me
we
put
let
something up on you real quick, though, OG.
Yes, sir.
Now, you know, it's a plethora of brothers and sisters in this community that can deal with the contemporary history shit.
Yeah.
But the most important thing that a lot of the people been pushing is studying your family history
right
more than this contemporary shit. Everybody else just want to push contemporary history and place you into some shit. But when you study your family, you place yourself into history because you know what you really connected with. Because even here in the Americas, certain shit happened in certain parts of America that was different in other parts of the Americas, right? You know, like what happened, what them brothers and sisters went through on that Eastern Seaboard and shit. Though it has similarities, it was different than what happened in the middle of the map, and then different from what happened on the West Coast and shit. Even though it's a lot of similarities in it, so you knowing exactly, like when you touching with your family, knowing where you at and shit, you knowing exactly in every historical detail where you belong at in this contemporary history because you did the first most important thing. Just study your family and let that shit take you where it need to take you.
Because I got family members, I got nephews, y'all, who doing this research day in and day out of our family, our history, who we are. I got pictures of my grandparents, head down to their back, all the way down, grandmothers all the way down to here, 80 and 90 years old. Listen, I never seen nothing about Africans in my family. I'm not knocking them. You know, under the guise of my creator, you know, he loves us all. We hate the things that we do. So it's people that have been doing something to us for years, and we allow it to happen. We've been doing it to ourselves. So we got to stop doing it to ourselves. Stop allowing people to do it to ourselves, and bring us up because I don't know how long I'm gonna live. I hope y'all brothers continue this thing on because the Most High see y'all doing this. He touching us all together. He's bringing this all together. Ain't no more brothers gonna teach us our history. Ain't nobody gonna teach us or add to us. We gonna do it. He's doing it.
We can't. We done left it in everybody's hands. We've been waiting, lifting everybody around the world, waiting on them. Ain't nobody helping us. Nobody got it.
And don't need to.
We
because we only got to do is study their history because they got the history of us.
Right.
They document of us over here. Come on, this place was built up. They got pictures of us. This country was built up when they came over here.
Man, I got a bill for my FBA brothers and sisters. I got a bill for y'all. I'm gonna show y'all where we went. I'm gonna show you how to identify your lineage fingerprint in cultures around the world. I'm gonna show you how to identify that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Damian Williams, Willis on here. Shout out to Damian Willis. Peace and blessings. What do you identify as? Aborigine, FBA? I just want to get your background.
My brother, I'm as Aboriginal as they come.
I have to shout out to my man Damian Willis. Just get it. What you got the comment on question? Go ahead and get it. You got the flow.
I mean, not really a question, man. Just happy to see that we finally getting on the path. You know what I'm saying? Getting back to, you know what I'm saying, our real knowledge of who we are. You feel me? And going through your family history. You know what I'm saying? I came upon the knowledge about maybe 2 years ago. You know what I mean? And just really jumped on it and really got into it. You know what I'm saying? And it was funny because my grandmother had already told us that we was Creek Indians, you know what I'm saying? Wow. So, you feel me? But, you know, going through life and not really, you know what I'm saying, and getting on the education path and all that shit, you know, it kind of like went to the back, you know what I'm saying? But just even growing up, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember being a kid, like in the 70s, because I'm like 48, you feel me? So, like in the 70s, man, being called black was a bad thing.
Wait, what side of town you come? Where you calling from, or where you at in the United States right now? California?
No. Right now I'm calling from Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland. Shout out to Cleveland in the building. Shout out to Cleveland in the building. Go ahead. I didn't mean to stop your wheels.
For sure, man. Yeah. So, you know, I grew up in Choctaw County, Alabama. Okay. I went to Choctaw County High School. I grew up about 6 miles away from a place called Pushmataha. I used to go get water with my grandparents out of the Mississippi River. It was a park called the Tom Bigby.
Okay. See, I grew up in a place down in Knoxville, which is the Chilhowie area, Chickamauga area.
Okay,
and it was a place called Chilhowie Springs. It's a freshwater spring. All the old that's how we load up on a truck with milk jugs and water jugs and go load up on that fresh free spring water. Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, that's right, man. You know what I'm saying? So my grandmother, she said her mother was a full-blooded Creek Indian. My grandmother grew up in a place called Choctaw Corner, which was the boundary line between the Choctaws and Creek people. And that later on became Thomasville, Alabama. Okay. So, you know what I'm saying? So, just growing up off the land, man, like we I guess you would call it farming, but it was like real talk growing up off the land. Like we ate wild deer, wild boar, you know what I'm saying? I grew up hunting, you know what I'm saying? Firewood, you feel me? Like I think for like till I was like 7 or 8 years old, you know what I'm saying? I remember mostly just fires, like, you know what I mean? like building fires, being around the fire every night with my grandparents, you know what I'm saying? Them telling me the old stories and shit, you know what I'm saying? And just catching up on all of that. Like, I just remember things like, I didn't go to the doctor, man, till I was like maybe 20 years old. Because my grandmother just had all these different types of medicines and tonics that she would make up, you know what I'm saying? Go out in the yard, get some sage, go get some pine sap and pull that pine sap off the tree, put it in a pot, you know what I'm saying, with some pine needles. You know what I mean? Heat that up, and man, you wake up the next day like you ain't never been sick before. You feel me? So, you know, just I know that's a part of our culture. You know what I'm saying? And like just living off the land, and we need to get back to I think a little bit of that, or teaching our young. You know what I'm saying? How to hunt, how to fish. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
hey, that's something that you said that's clean, because I've been putting together something. I've just been so busy these last few years, man. But I am putting together something in my community to deal with something. I ain't gonna talk about it yet because a lot of niggas been still, but we got some shit.
No, don't let the
this gonna be for Philadelphia, Delaware, Jersey, Maryland, DC area. So a lot of the brothers and sisters will be able to get involved and be able to stretch out a little bit. So yeah, it's gonna be dope. Hands on, especially for the youth and a lot of the male figures.
We need that, man. We need that because we don't need to be in no situation where we can't, you know what I'm saying, provide for ourselves and for our families. You know what I'm saying? Even if they cut the lights off in this motherfucker, you know what I mean? We're gonna be all right. You feel me?
That's a fact. That's a fact. We got to learn those customs. Because I can show you 15 different things right now. A phone, a cell phone, a hat, whatever it may be. You will be able to identify it right then and there. But if I show you 10 different plant species, you ain't gonna have no clue. You understand me?
Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I trace my people back to like New Kent County, Virginia, the King, I think it was like King and Queen County, Virginia. You know what I'm saying? My bloodline, at least I tracked it at least far back, at least the family name goes back to like 1601 Virginia.
Ooh, okay, yeah, that's what's up, man. You doing your work, man. Keep encouraging your people around you. Keep teaching them babies, grandbabies, and I'm gonna keep working. I need y'all guys' help to keep bridging this gap, man. I appreciate y'all doing the work.
For sure, man. For sure. I appreciate
shout out to Battle Axe, man. We got Battle Axe on the panel, man. What's going on, brother? No, you've been rowdied up in that chat, man. What's going on with you, Battle Axe?
What's going on, man? Shalom, peace to the platform, man.
Peace and peace. You got a statement or question?
Yeah, I got a question. I was wondering, how are we the Aboriginals of this continent when we can our DNA does match without dismissing scientific advancement? Our DNA matches those on another side of the whole planet.
You mind if I answer?
And there's a lot of them over there.
All right. You mind
so
if
my
I
question would be, how are we the original inhabitants of this land, even though we're related to some people on the other side of the planet?
Okay, that's a good question. Well, DNA is associated with not a landmass, but it's associated with people. And so what you will have to get into where is people's from and where did people's go. This is migration story. So what you have to understand that even in recent times, right, in the Americas has went to West Africa and populated it and civilized it, if you will. The whole essence of Liberia, excuse me, is built off of Aboriginal foundational Americans going there. The Cameroon, Sierra Leone.
Yeah,
So you're
but
going
that was
to
only 6,000. That was initiated by 6,000 people
This was happening.
from the American government as a sanctuary location. That wasn't actually a place that was supposed to have been set up as a stage for.
Well, no. I'm not questioning why. I'm not questioning why. Nothing. I'm just telling you that the American presence before DNA, genealogy, astrology was there, and it came from America and went there. So now that testing is done, you should find American sequences in DNA if Americans went there. On another note, you have a more ancient travel from the peoples of America too. You have different migrations, man. You have travels up to 8,000 years ago, even up to 4,000 years ago. You have various different people from America going over there to parts of Africa. Most of these places in Africa was populated, meaning wasn't that many people there. So you should find American genetics there as well. So, like I said, it's a custom of lots of other things. History is very complex, and we got to take our time methodically.
Hey, pyramids and so
Can't forget we
Hold on. Before we go further,
can't
hold on,
forget
because you
that
didn't
we
really.
traded.
Some of the oldest mounds and pyramids was here. The
There's
oldest
all
mounds
kinds
and
of
pyramids
different.
is here before it got
That's
over
why
there
you
to
see
Africa and
corn in
Egypt.
Egypt. That's why you
So
see the
that
corn
lets you
in
know that
Egypt.
we was here first
One at a time,
before you
y'all. One
talk
at
on
a time.
Africa. You really
Hey,
don't know
brother, Ab TV, would you like to go in on this subject real quick? Because I know this is your expertise.
Before he goes in, let me respond to what you just said
Go
first.
ahead. TV, you got the floor.
Okay. But you said that we came from here, or at least that's what you implied, that they came from here and they went over there. But
well, let me first that so you can.
Let me finish so you can answer the question. So you can answer my question the best way I can get the answer.
Hurry up, Battle Axe.
So you don't find only one kind of DNA makeup in Africa. You find all kinds of different subgroups and different variations of people on that continent. But over here, it's majoritively the same. So my question would be then, how is it that those people in Africa, they got different genetic makeup ties them to that land still, but those people are not actually directly related to each other. You come over here to the Americas, and it's actually the contrary. We are related to each other. How is that happening? How is that anomaly happening over here when it didn't happen over there?
Hey, can I speak on something on that real quick? Recent time.
First you ask him what does he think?
Hold on 1 second, right? Because I'm just finna expound on what AP talk about in a more recent migration. See,
right.
because a lot of time we could show ancient migrations and shit, but we know people like to take us back there because there's a lot of gray areas in between. So let's just deal with this recent migration. So people just think it's just Liberia and Sierra Leone. Everywhere that the colonizer went along that West Coast, we was right hand in hand with them. We was the ones that went in and did the colonizing for them with the church and everything. Every place, Nigeria, who was ran by that? Britain. Who the fuck Britain took over there? Niggas from here and some niggas from Europe and shit down there in the mixing with them. So that whole coastal land and the scramble for Africa was colonized by the very people that we already been in contact with and been interacting with and been fighting in wars on their side with and doing other colonization with. We've been hand in hand with them niggas for hundreds of years now before they even started colonizing West Africa. So you gotta take it. So basically this is what hold on. This hold on, bro. Hold on, y'all. I'm almost done, bro. You can get it from there.
So this way you can understand exactly what I'm saying. All right. West Africa was colonized during the scramble for Africa. That whole colonization, not to mention Liberia and Sierra Leone, but every other state that got established through colonization along West Africa had us on the side of the colonizer going over there with them. So I'm not surprised you would see people with with certain private mutations we might share with them, because from the 1800s up until the 1900s, we was over there hand in hand with them and shit at one point, helping them colonize. As a matter of fact, when we went over there and shit, especially in Liberia, we started warring with the Africans and we was enslaving each other. So
okay, now,
people don't talk. So people don't like
on.
to talk about that when they talk about DNA, like that shit didn't happen.
This is a question. You're not answering my question though. You
I
haven't
did,
answered my
bro.
question.
If that didn't
No,
explain shit,
you
I don't know
went
how to
on.
answer it.
Listen, you went on a historical tangent, and I'm not knocking you for that, but that wasn't the answer to my question. My question was, how did Africans in Africa?
You low, bro.
Let me finish. So,
no, you low. We can't hear you. Speak up. We can't hear you.
Repeat yourself, Battle Axe.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
A little better.
Okay. How did all those people in Africa come from this side on this continent when all those people on that continent are not even related to each other? But they've been there.
Battle Axe, that's where you confusing the story.
That don't even make sense,
Right, because
bro.
his original question was, how do we share DNA with these motherfuckers? Now
No,
he's taking it to some other shit.
We're not saying that all people in Africa came from the Americas. That's not what we're saying. I don't know where you're confusing that at. Like,
they've been lied to too, brother. They've been lied to too. They've been lied to. It takes agriculture to raise nations of people. Y'all had no agriculture. We had to come over there and teach you how to grow things, brother. Listen, from here, not from over there. We had to teach you how to grow young crops. Okay, so how you gonna raise nations after dynasties?
As a matter of
then
fact,
you had to trade. Come on, brother. We was here before you. This country was built up before you. Y'all had nothing going on.
Yo,
like
you got
now.
an FBA flag?
Come on, brother.
FBA flag?
You coming over here? Why you coming over here? If it's all like that, come on now. We trying to get this country together with what we got.
Are you mad
because
I'm trying to
we ain't knocking you, but
I'm trying to make this make sense.
You've been taking for years, brother.
I would like for you guys to be able to just answer it.
Go ahead. Hold on, Battle Axe. Battle Axe. Can you ask the question a little more? Can you ask it again? Because we didn't say all people from Africa came from America. So can you ask that question again, brother?
I like to hear what.
How did we? Excuse me. My name's Battle Axe. Hold on.
That's what I'm saying. I would like to hear what you got to say. What do you think the reason is?
Hold on. Before I sit here and play your game, I have to answer what AP just asked me. Are you going to? Are you going to allow that to happen?
It's cool.
Can I answer AP's question, please?
Yeah, please. Yes.
So my initial question was, how is we're the original inhabitants of this land, but we share the same DNA with people that is from Africa, and all people in Africa aren't the same. How is that happening?
I don't even understand your question, bro. What are you talking about?
So wait. Hold on.
TWT, man. TWT.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Everybody mute up, y'all. Everybody mute up.
Bro, let me just ask you one question. If the people, hold on, bro. If the people in Africa,
Battle Axe, bro, show some discipline, bro. I said,
let me just ask one question, bro.
Please show some
discipline. If the people in Africa, all the people in Africa on the continent aren't genetically connected, right? Then how can you call people over here African based off of their genetics?
Right. Because our genetics is matching up with those western base of Africa and in South Africa and some places in East Africa.
So let me ask you a question, bro.
Okay.
Is there a specific prototype for genetics in Africa?
The way they do it with the DNA is they do it off of a combination. and they use the combination, the DNA markers and the combinations, and they're able to do the same thing they use with forensic science to be able to identify a person's hair by DNA.
No, but there's a prototype for West Africa.
So the same thing, the same sequence that they see in our DNA is found nowhere else on planet Earth but in Africa. They don't find it in the Asians. They don't find it in the European whites. They find it in the Africans, particularly sub-Saharan.
So
When someone
according to
says that we
you,
are the original inhabitants of this land, then
That's a
why
lie.
is our
What we're
relative
talking
on
about,
another
Battle
land?
Axe. That's a lie, sir.
It's not a lie. Our relatives are on another land. That's what I
so
said.
the Africans that you talking about are they're not connected to all other human beings on the planet.
Sahara Africa. We're not connected to the Egyptians. We're connected to those of sub-Sahara Africa.
Okay, so are those, hold on real quick, are those of sub-Saharan Africa connected to every other type of people on the planet? Yes or no? Genetically? Yes or no?
No, they might have a little bit of colonizers genetics inside of their blood, but it's only at a low percentage. So it's obvious that they're from where they're at.
Okay, so do 99% of humans share, I'm sorry, do all humans share 99% genetics, similar genetics?
Determine what haplogroup or what people group you're associated.
You're not answering the question, sir.
Yes, I did. I said no, but you don't have to make a determination. You're making it seem like we gotta be walking around looking like twins. We gotta have a twin DNA. That's not what it is.
No, I'm not.
So
I asked you a simple, hold on.
You're trying to attack.
I asked you a question and no, I just asked you simple questions and now you going off on a tangent when it was just simple yes or no questions. All right, according to your science, all humans are 99 point whatever percent genetically similar. Okay, you all got feet, you all got knees, toes. Hold on, sir.
Hey,
You
hold
all
on.
got eyes. You all
Bro, listen.
procreate. Hold on. You all procreate. When the white man goes and procreate with you Africans, it makes a child. So that goes against what you're saying that whatever type of Africans, the sub-Saharan Africans are somehow genetically different than any other people on the planet, according to the science that you're utilizing, sir. You know that makes no sense.
Yeah,
You're
but
saying, hold on, you're saying we're Africans based, hold on, bro.
White people?
Hold on, you're saying we're Africans based on genetics, right? But then in the same sentence, you said that all Africans don't got the same genetics.
Yeah, but our genetics is still matched up with people that is in Africa. I don't know how you got that.
Okay,
confused.
hold on.
That's not a
So
concept.
hold on. Let me ask you a question. One more question, and I'm gonna let you get it. So, our people as well, the people you're calling our people, do they have any other connection with any other genetics in them from any other people other than Africans?
Only a small fraction, and those things can be explained through colonization and slavery.
See, this whole conversation ain't even going right.
It ain't what it is. It's going perfect.
Hold on.
Know what he doing.
Hey, not a coincidence. Can you please explain where it's not? Hold on, Battle X. Show some discipline.
Africa.
Battle X, shut the fuck up. I'm talking to
y'all can't get around that.
I'm not talking to you. You still talking. This nigga got to talk. Fuck out of here. Your information sucks. But now, not a coincidence. What was you saying, brother?
I didn't come with no information.
So, hold on. So I sat here for a minute. I'm listening. Me and App TV talk mad time. What's good, bro? You know what you doing.
What's up, bro?
When it comes to genetic testing, you got admixture testing, you got haplogroup testing. So humans are 99.9%. So when it comes to when they do your admixture, they're only testing at 0.01%. That's different. And that's where you'll see the differences. But there's limitations to that because you can only test the admixture from, let's say, 250 to 500 years. If you want to go further back, you have to test the haplogroup. And now when you talk about African, this is the connection to all human beings. So yeah, Africans do have a connection to all human beings, but not through admixture test, but through haplogroup test. So, but AbTV knows this. Again.
So if all humans have, so Africans have a connection to all humans, but not through admixture. How is that possible if every human on the planet comes through an African?
Beckett, drop a bomb.
Beckett, drop a bomb. Hey, by the way, can you please stay muted? This conversation is
Beckett, drop a ball.
Yeah. For you, big bro. You unmuted now, big bro.
Hey, brother, we just trying to add to you, man. Listen, add to thinking, man, your wisdom, man. That's all we doing, man. That's all we add to our wisdom.
But I
understand what I'm saying?
You ain't want to talk fully.
Hey, somebody got a bad mic check on here. I don't know who the hell it is. They got the snap, crackle, and pop going on in this motherfucker. And it is throwing me off. I don't know who that is. Please mic check. Somebody fix that. I don't know what it is. But go ahead, Truth. I think you had to. Who did it unmute? I think it might be the.
Nah, that wasn't me, bro.
It might be Arthur or Damien. Somebody got the.
Let me mute mine to see.
Okay, yeah, it might have been Arthur. It might have been. No, hold on. Oh, it's the brother Damien. It's the brother Damien. I'm about to mute. It's all good.
Hey, not a coincidence.
Yo.
You found that African uncle and shit on the 20 of nucleotide?
For sure.
What?
For sure. I ain't got no ego, baby. I'm all good over here.
What you talking about, Truth?
No, you know how you gotta go do the upload your DNA to the other shit and start checking like the 20th chamber and all this other shit. I just asked
the fourth centimorph, the centimorph.
Have I found African cousins yet? DNA test?
Hey, brother AB, can I ask a question?
So who is the ancestor that connect y'all to each other?
I don't know yet.
So are you guys trying to say that we
hold on.
So we don't accept
hold on. Somebody else
y'all don't accept DNA.
Man, I'm talking to not a coincidence, bro. Not to yo, that's right, yelling at us, bro.
Hey, AB, let me ask you a question.
I try to give them a chance, like, get the fuck on.
We've been trying to figure out between us and the Africans, whoever, but forget about that. Let's figure out these native Indians. Have we ever did a DNA on these folks?
Yes, we did, my nigga.
I know we know they're Europeans. We know that we can say Europeans. Are they part of the Mongolians, or did they come from the Dire Straits or whatever? Do we?
They're a mixture of Hindus, Mongolians, and East Africans.
Okay.
Philip, come on, don't forget about Filipinos and Pacific.
Well, you know that's all Mongolian. And
I
shit
guess I guess.
If you want to use it, you just say Asian.
Right.
Yeah, they're a mixture of Asian, East Africans, a whole lot of Hindus, and some white people.
Hindus,
and so they got the history of when these people migrated. So if these people,
we got the history of them being transported.
Okay,
they
right.
They came through the Pacific slave trade. See, I want everybody to look up the Pacific slave trade. Shout out to my man True for bringing that out, doing extensive research on that. Along with A1 and other brothers that put that out, man. So shout out to y'all. Hey, I'm not gonna be here long, man. I don't really do the late night bills. I'm about to get out of here. Y'all got to get awake in the morning.
Hey, God bless y'all, brothers, man. God bless y'all, man.
For sure, man. Hey, AB.
Yeah, absolutely, big bro.
Yeah, I gotta ask you a question, man.
No problem. Absolutely. Shoot.
Hey, check this out. So that is the end goal, right? To get them fake motherfuckers up out of our spot, right?
Absolutely, and to get what's rightfully owed to us.
Okay,
we get what's owed for us as economic power, political power,
exactly.
DNA. You already know what's up from there, man. You already know. We're working on
Big.
that. It's getting on code with our brothers and sisters. So shout out to the brothers and sisters that's willing to do the work with Big Al Power, tie this bridge, work this bridge, build this bridge between our lost brothers and sisters that may not claim the same ideology or use the same terminology, but have the same understanding. Let's work with them. Be a little patient with them. They already here. You understand me? So
Right.
shout out to everybody in the chat. Everybody for coming through. Not a coincidence. Arthur Livingston, Smoke Signal, Damian Willis, Battle Axe, appreciate you for coming through. The God of the Beat, aka TV, Proof, and shout out to everybody in this motherfucker.
Yes, indeed. You got love for us, man. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, always. I do this shit for y'all, man.
Peace.
I don't want, you know what I mean, this ain't for nobody else, man. I do this shit for
Peace.
y'all, man. So shout out to all my FBA brothers and sisters in the chat. Hold on. Before I go, I want to allow this other brother to just pop on to give his speech. Shout out to the brother Apollo.
What's good, Ad?
What's going on, bro? What you identify as? FBA?
All right, so only according to the genealogy, I went back to 1840. My grandfather in Georgia. That's according to the paperwork, but according to the archaeogenetics, I actually traced back to an Egyptian mummy they had found. So there's bones that they took DNA samples of.
Damn. That's what's up. So you foundational American or you come from Africa?
I identify as FBA, but there is an African lineage to me specifically, you know. So
yeah, don't be scared to say it.
So yeah, that's what's up, man. Embrace the African lineage, man. So which one of these Africans is part of your lineage?
All right, so this was in the Middle Kingdom. His name was Priest Knum Nak, but his father.
Which one of your ancestors by way out?
I would say, according to the.
You going with the DNA test thing?
Yeah, I'm kind of going with the.
That's not in void. I want to know what your family records say, your genealogy. What records do you have?
Damn, AP.
I only had stopped at 1840 Georgia, so I wasn't able to trace back with the paperwork, you know.
You finding any African in the 1840 lineage?
No.
You're not gonna find no Africans in 1840.
No.
Come on, bro. 1808, the slave trade stopped. So why would you find African?
Yeah. So I gotta do more research, you know.
Hold on. So they quit making Africans after 1808?
No, legally they stopped bringing them here in 1808.
So they quit. Did people quit legally identifying as African after 1808?
First of all, black people didn't have a chance.
Hold on. It's not a question. It's a yes or no. Would people have identified as black or African after 1808?
Black, yes.
I mean, no, not black. I mean African after 1808. Would they have?
Oh, yes. They had organizations with African in it. Yes.
Yeah. So that's all I had to say, Ad. That's all.
1808. Okay, cool.
Yes, they did. And Tyshawn, you's a real clown. You're a clown, Tyshawn.
Hey, so I think but I appreciate you for coming on the follow.
For sure.
Get back to fighting people for doing wrong and get back what the Egyptian government owes you, bro. We trying to get you to get what you need, big bro.
For sure, man. All right.
Shout out to Apollo. I appreciate you for coming through, bro. I appreciate your support.
All right, fellas.
Shout out to Apollo in the building, man. Shout out to that brother. Hey, so what we heard, 4 out of 5 of the FBA claim their lineages in America. One of them has it going back to Egypt. That's pretty interesting. So I'd love to get more feedback from you FBA brothers and sisters, just to add clarity to the conversation. So peace and love to all the American Aborigines, all the FBA brothers and sisters in the chat. Make sure y'all get y'all some rest. Be safe. Stay aware. Stay vigilant. Stay dangerous. We ended this live stream right now. We out.
Yes, indeed. God bless. All right, man.
Whatever it takes.
Supreme Chief Holiday Channel. He's going live right now. Go over to the Supreme Chief Holiday Channel. He's going live right now. Drop them fire emojis in the chat. Drop them fire emojis.
They won't see me. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with Perky, now that hair right up his veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah.
Lost, see, I glossed to it, shit ain't been the same. Heard the ops